Hailing frequencies are open. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Last Excelsior, our Star Trek adventure show here on Althaven with the StreamPunks. It's good to be back. We have a big game ahead of us tonight, so I'm going to jump right in pretty quick. So if anybody's got any announcements right off the top that has nothing to do with me, please feel free. Please feel free to give that information now.
Too bad you're not the boss of us. Happy birthday,
Happy
Eric.
birthday, Eric.
Happy birthday, Eric. Yeah.
It was coming anyways. You've just made it come sooner. Is the only thing. So everybody say happy birthday, Eric, right now.
Happy birthday.
I did threaten Eric to be like, "Hey, Bay Red, we're gonna sing happy birthday."
Yeah,
but I do agree that
I'm going to reward myself threat.
Do it. It's your birthday. You can threat if you want to.
It's a nice little treat.
Does anybody have anything relevant?
Yes, as a birthday gift to Eric, today I announced the premiere date of Sacred Machinations, which is our mech meets divinity actual play podcast that I'm producing and a player in. And it's going to be premiering on April 29th on all your pods, where you can catch all your pods. So keep an eye out for that. It's been a lot of fun. We're still in the process of recording, but we've recorded more than half of the batch that's going to be releasing next few over a few weeks. No, it's going to be over the year. So keep an eye out for that. If you're an emotional person, keep a box of tissues by you.
Oh boy. Someone told me today in my chat during the morning stream that your title blades game made them sob, which I was immediately like, damn it, now I need to play title blades.
I was playing, but I play like an old timer retired hero.
Were you playing a turtle, whatever they're called?
Yeah, I was playing a turtle.
I knew it. I'm like, what's gonna jerk on the tier? And that would be as a real quick just a quick shout out, because you brought up mechs, and I forgot to bring this up in my morning stream this morning. Just take a moment here on StreamPunks to give a big shout out to one Rogan27, who during our Tomes and Tales game, during our very first ever playthrough of Mech Warrior Destiny, I finally got to run the BattleTech RPG. I just want to give a big shout out to Rogan, who death from above two surrendering officers who were climbing out of their tank. Well done, Rogan. I just wanted to salute you again for taking it very personally and dropping 25 tons of mech on those guys' heads. It was a highly entertaining game. If you want to learn more about Tomes and Tales, head over to the StreamPunks coffee account. Anybody else have any other announcements for this evening?
I do.
Oh yeah.
Look, you can go first.
Go for it. You said it first.
Oh, okay. Tomorrow is going to be the second day of our phase 1 of Marvel. We've got a pull list episode called The God and the Wolf. So if you like Tyr and Harbinger and you would like to see how they first met, that is the episode that'll be coming out tomorrow. It's a little different than all of the other Marvel stuff. I've worked really hard on the editing, so I hope that you will like it. And they survive, probably. Right? That's and one final thing. Just we have the littlest ensign who listens to the stories of the crew of the Pride as a bedtime. So from Captain Jiren and the rest of the Pride at the crew, hi and have a good night.
Have a good night.
Yes, guys, little ensign, and we apologize for all the swearing you heard on this show.
But that is
I'm picturing this ensign immediately hearing somebody accuse the Klingon of having a beard and going, "What's that mean? What's it mean to have a beard?" Anybody else have any other announcements for the evening?
Yes. Well, first of all, this Friday is Althaven movie night, so you should check that out. Get in the Discord. I'm sure there's a Discord bot in chat. There is actually just got sent, so you should get in the Discord so you can join us for movie night. The Althaven Discord. Is it Muppets?
What?
The Great Muppet Caper.
The Muppet
Great
Caper.
Muppet Caper. So you want to be there for that. So do that. My announcements. I have another GeoGuessr VOD went up today from yesterday. I'm streaming now weekly. I'm piggybacking on. I'm using Sam for executive function
Foolish mortal.
Because you stream at a regular time, so I say I watch Sam stream, and watching someone stream makes me want to stream, and so then I know that I can stream when Sam is done streaming. So
you would want to watch me and then be like, no, I could do better.
No, I could not because Sam was in space and I brought everybody right back down to Earth to play GeoGuessr. But you should watch the VODs if you're interested in any of that. They're really, really fun. I post them all on my YouTube channel. You should check them out. And that's what I got.
Supplementary log, just as a quick, I don't know if you saw this, Sam. I'm sure you did because this is just exciting marine biology news. But they actually filmed the very first time. They actually filmed one of the giant squids in its original captivity. I'm super excited about it. It's a baby. He's a little baby. It's about 3.5 feet long. It's going to get up to about 16 feet when it's fully grown. But yeah,
Same.
yeah. One day, check that out. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got any other announcements?
Yes. Speaking of animals,
Hmm?
over the past few weeks, many people have had many opinions as to whether we might have de-extinct any of them. We have not. Obviously, we have not. There's a whole internet full of people who will explain in great detail why that is not the thing that we're doing. But what actually did they do? It turns out after the whole mishigas in the news, then and only then was an actual scientific paper released. I went through all of it for the benefit of you, the people. So if you want to know about real direwolf science and about the crime of science communication that the Colossal Biosciences Marketing Department committed, you should check out the latest episode of May Contain Science live now on my YouTube and Coffee. I know, I have an opinion. It's shocking. Also, one further announcement. Happy birthday, Eric. You thought I was only going to get you once. Oh no, I get you twice. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I hope it's been a nice one. I hope you had a good day.
We need to write down Designer Wolves as a band name. That's totally what that meant. All right. Well, with all the shenanigans having almost been committed, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's episode of the Last Excelsior.
Birthday, Eric.
Welcome back to the Last Excelsior. Where we last left off, we were doing something very, very, very
Chill.
common in tabletop RPG. We divided the party, and then we divided the party again, and then we divided the party again, and then we divided the party again. We have, you guys broke away from the USS Pride. USS Pride dropped off your commander. Then you dropped off Drac. Y'all are split 4 ways right now. Y'all are in the process of engaging with a Jim Hadar attack ship. These have not been seen anywhere near the Alpha or Beta quadrants since the Dominion War, since the Treaty of Bajor was signed. As a quick recap to people to understand the impact of even seeing one of these in the Alpha and Beta quadrants, this is a breach of the pact that was signed. In that treaty, it specified that the Dominion is not even allowed to enter the Alpha and Beta quadrants without the express permission of all three major powers of the Alpha and Beta quadrants. The Romulan Star Empire, the Klingon Empire, and the United Federation of Planets all have to agree. There goes my camera. All have to agree if anyone is passing into the wormhole. Well, to summarize where we left off, the attempt to understand who was responsible for the kidnapping of this highly ranked scientist, and to discover who was behind these strange runs of trying to get all of these shipments of old energy containment systems, led you to a remote asteroid where this handoff was happening. Casey Chang, who is a smuggler and who has been reluctant but hopeful in agreeing with the USS Pride to try to get her sister back, a scientist named Dr. Jin Chang. What you all discovered is that the people she was meeting up with are, in fact, the Jem'Hadar. You discovered a Jem'Hadar attack ship was sitting powered down in a stealth-like manner, much like the Peregrine that Cadence is flying right now, and was waiting for a pickup. On the other side, far beyond the system, the USS Pride was at station keeping, kind of sitting between the subspace relay that you have your commander currently sitting at, who is using her skills. Hataben is renowned for being came up as a communications officer before she got her commission as a commander. She's currently stationed right now inside that subspace relay and is using her skills to listen for what you all were hoping was going to be a transmission to reveal whoever this was or their location, if they were going to show footage or a connection of some kind to Jin. Because based off your intelligence, Casey had said that when she approaches, anytime she does a drop-off, she always asks for the condition of her sister, and they always show it. There was an assumption then that it's possible they weren't going to bring her, that they had her sort of transmitting in wherever she was being held, because that would be the logical and safe thing to do. There has been no communications passing through that subspace relay that has flagged anything. It's all standard chatter. A couple of high priority Starfleet messages and a few from the Klingon Empire, which they are allowed to use the subspace relay, being closer allies to the Federation. The Romulans technically have access to, but that's a whole other story. Essentially, nothing unusual. After encountering the Jem'Hadar ship, and it activating, and the firefight you are all detecting that is breaking out right now inside this abandoned mining facility between Casey and the 4 Jem'Hadar who are down there. Keep in mind, you're detecting weapons fire, but it's not completely clear what's happening. You're kind of putting 2 and 2 together. Weapons fire has broken out. Casey has triggered that emergency switch that she was given to let anybody know that she was in trouble. She does have the ability to beam back to her ship. But things have gotten dangerous because the Jem'Hadar attack ship has detached from the surface of this asteroid. Just as it began to accelerate and race towards the meet point, and a staggering display of recklessness and high-octane lack of self-preservation that would make all of your teachers at Starfleet Academy both cheer you and chastise the hell out of you. You did a quick dead drop with absolutely no EVA suit, succumbing I wouldn't say you succumbed to, but experiencing vacuum for a good few seconds as you basically dropped off your chief security officer, who then charged across the asteroid and leapt onto the Jem'Hadar attack vessel just as it was lifting off. And at this point, Cadence, it has become clear to you that there is simply no hiding anymore. The Jem'Hadar, as you well know, have what Starfleet have classified some of the most sensitive and highly efficient sensors the Federation has ever encountered. And at this point, your ace pilot instincts have kicked in. You are fully aware that right now you have to assume they see you. They're coming for you. We're going to start this session right where we left off. The USS Pride is currently at maximum warp and is traveling to get here as quickly as possible. But you're still at least 45 minutes away. Whatever's going to happen is going to be done by the time you all get here. It's going to be history. You're going as fast as that old ship can fly. And unfortunately, as fast as the Pride is, she's just not as fast as modern ships. And she is not going to make it in time by the time this is done. And what is this? We're about to find out, because we're kicking this off with the heavy sounds of the muted sounds of heavy boots impacting on the surface of the Jem'Hadar attack ship, just as main thrusters push it away from the surface of the asteroid, creating a cloud of dust, debris, and rock exploding outward from underneath the ship. This ship tilts a little bit and then angles up. And it occurs to you as this is happening, your emergency magna boots immediately kicking in as soon as this happens to Aeon. And you find yourself locking down onto the hull just as the ship begins to accelerate forward. You see a vaguely shaped object about maybe 2,000 feet away from you. The only thing that helps you identify it as the Peregrine is because you just came from that ship. But against the backdrop of space and flying out of low power mode, Cadence is, for all intents and purposes, invisible for the moment as they are barreling back towards the direction of where the firefight was happening. Casey, if I remember correctly, you were going to race in that direction. But if you got something different from me, Sam, you can tell me whatever it is you want to do. Because right now, no movement has happened yet. You've just dropped him off, and now you're good to go. You guys actually have initiative here, so either one of you can go first.
Please.
I'm trying to make my way to as close to the underside of this ship as possible. I have, in my time investigating the Jem'Hadar, especially after the dreams, or before or during, it's kind of hard to really tell at this point. I've been looking into the Jem'Hadar, and I know from previous study and honestly seeing it again up close and personal, that there is an access hatch at the bottom where they would drop off troops. So I'm going to try and make my way down there.
I'm trying to remember which episode of DS9 that was, but it was one of my favorite episodes where they encounter the upside down Jem'Hadar vessel and O'Brien gets into, I can't remember the name of it, because we get to see another Vorta, and I love the Vorta. All right, so you're going to try to get to the underbelly of this Jem'Hadar attack ship, which is now moving at near full impulse, which, by the way, is sublight speeds. It's going to be moments. It's all it's going to take is mere moments for them to get to their destination, assuming that they're headed back. So the first thing I'm going to need you to do to Aeon is use as much of that Vulcan strength as possible, because the laws of physics work against you immediately as this ship accelerates so much faster than it is safe for anybody to be on the top of this thing. So you're going to need to make a check here, and it is going to be very difficult, considering the scope of what's happening, what Aeon is being put through, and what you're trying to achieve. This is going to be a very challenging role, and I think it is fair to break out a 5 difficulty on this.
Yeah,
Which is not funsies because of what happens if you should fail, but the truth is that is the significance of what you're about to pull off.
Okay.
So, now, quick reminder, you guys were told that you can keep the momentum because we're still in mid-scene, so you get to keep the momentum you had from last week.
So before we went live, we had somebody said new scene, we drop a momentum. I would like to argue we're starting off literally right where we left off.
I think it's because wherever we left off was the jump onto the ship. So I would agree with you.
Okay, we have 6 momentum then.
Okay.
Please, I'm getting you as many as I can. Direct
that's
use them.
completely
I told you you didn't want me to
Bruder,
use them last
attorney
week.
at law.
So just to correct me if I'm wrong, it's 1 momentum for 1, then 2, then 3, or is it what's the
The spend for momentum.
yeah
For new dice.
Oh,
for
to
each
buy
consecutive
dice.
spend.
Buying
Yeah.
a dice, you can spend up to So add a bonus d20 granted by talents game effects. So add more d20s by spending momentum. The first one cost 1, the second one cost 2, and the third one costs an addition 3.
3.
So
Okay.
if you were going to spend to
We
buy
can get 3.
the
Okay,
max,
exactly.
no matter what talents you have, no matter how much you spend, no matter what, maximum you can ever roll is 5d20 on a single attempt.
Okay, I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need to spend all that momentum.
You want all of it? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
I don't
love
have
it.
enough d6s around, d10, 20s around me, so I'm gonna have to use it online.
So this is going to be hold on one sec. I got to put Discord on streamer mode. Especially because y'all are probably exchanging secret player messages and I don't want to know about it. Okay. Okay. So this is definitely going to be, I'm going to say, honestly, I'm going to let you choose. This could either be fitness or daring.
Yeah, I think fitness is best, but I feel like this is the definition of daring.
Okay. I would say it's a daring security check.
Okay.
Which I think you are pretty good at, being security officer.
Yeah. You throw under a 16.
So difficulty 5, make it happen. Make it happen, or you're going on a trip. You're going on a magical trip.
Yeah, I don't have any focuses that can help me.
Not exactly the magic school bus, but it's kind of close, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you have any determination here? This might be a determination.
Oh yes.
That's not a bad idea.
I have a value. I believe to use a determination has to apply to a value. And my value, one of the values I think applies here is improvise. By the book often is worth matching practice.
Yeah, I would say as impulsive as this was, I would say you were improvising. I mean, you came up with this plan in like 3 seconds. I mean,
quick thinkers.
Cadence literally exposed themselves. Cadence literally has icicles that are drying up in their eyebrows right now from going into vacuum without any emergency. Yes, I will allow improvise to count here.
Okay, perfect. So that sets it to one of the dice for 1 automatically.
What's that?
Right? It does that. Does using a determination sets a dice to 1?
Yes, it sets whatever die you were about to roll. One of them gets set aside and is treated as if it rolled a crit.
Perfect. Okay. Nice.
So that counts against the total number of dice that one could roll. So you won't have to buy. Right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's perfect. I rolled 4 successes, 6 if you include the crit from the determination.
So if you hadn't spent that determination, if you had not spent that determination, you would have been torn free from the hull. And then I would have gone to see what kind of damage your EVA suit had taken.
Here we get 1 momentum back.
Yeah.
To say nothing of what might have happened if I had spent threat to enact a complication and have you bounce off the hull as you were being hurled aside. I mean, that could have been really bad. However, with the Magna Boots, you manage in many ways to stay on, much to your chagrin, because what ends up happening is the sudden acceleration does in fact send you back, slamming into the hull, feet staying exactly where they are. You manage to keep yourself conscious by tucking your chin in just as you feel the momentum hit, straining as much as you can. You don't break your legs in the process, and you bam right against the hull. Even through the muted sounds of space, through your suit, you can hear the heavy metallic thong noise against the back of your helmet as you crash against it. And then you see the rather disorienting effect of seeing the stars above you totally still and peaceful. And then the shadow of a mountain right past you as you were accelerating forward at beyond half impulse power. You've managed to stay on, and you now have the velocity. You are now part of this ship as in terms of its current speeds. So you can pull yourself up right now. The next thing you're going to have to do is get to the bottom of the Jim Hadar ship as it is flying to its point. You're not going to have long, and you can't exactly run either. You're going to have to play this pretty exact, but you're going to have to essentially pull a Jareth the Goblin King and step over the side and kind of swing down and get yourself underneath this, and then make your way over to the hatch. And then it's hacking your way in. You've got 2 more objectives in front of you.
Yeah. One step at a time. Though I am really
1 step forward.
Really missing the boring as they right themselves and start taking steps towards the underside of this speeding ship.
Okay.
Taking it slow and steady.
To Aeon, you keep your eyes on the hull so that the horizon of this rock racing past you at incredible speeds doesn't disorient you. And you make your way with bent knees, leaning as much as you can to compensate. Truly, it's easy to assume that if you were perhaps a species that didn't have the incredible strength of a Vulcan, you might be in a peck of trouble right now, as you feel the forces pushing and pulling against you. But you do manage to make your way over to the edge. There's going to be another fitness check here in a second, but it's not going to be anywhere near as brutal as the first one because you're on this thing now. I'm going to have you make another roll here, and this is going to see you're basically doing that quick climb down off the side of the corner of this. You do have magnets on magnet gloves on it as part of the safety protocols of Starfleet, so you can get down on all fours and do a crawl over.
Yeah,
so,
I'm absolutely doing a crawl. I'm keeping low and close to the hull.
This is going to be a fitness security check.
Okay.
Difficulty. Go ahead.
We have 1 momentum. You should buy that die just to.
I do want to hear what the difficulty is, right?
The difficulty of this is 2.
Okay. I realized traits can be used to reduce difficulty, right? If they're relevant to the task being done.
Yeah, you have to pitch them, but yes, if they're relevant to the task being done, yeah.
I have the species trait Vulcan. Would that help with the strength aspect to this?
Yes, I would argue that it would. Yes.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I have long been frustrated by the fact that every time the Vulcan character species comes out in Star Trek Adventures, that the Vulcan strength is mentioned, but there's no mechanic for it. And the way I interpret this is just saying Vulcan. If you're a Star Trek fan, you know Vulcans can do some pretty horrifying things with their strength if they need to. So I think it's just a simple matter of saying, can I invoke this trait? And I don't think you have to spend anything to do it. I think you can just pitch it. And in which case, yes, I would say you pull yourself onto the other side. You can use that. I'll drop the difficulty down to 1 for that.
Okay. And then
I would say you should still buy the die and rank yourself up some momentum.
I won't. The thing is, I'm confident I can do this.
Okay.
Because I always have self-reliant.
Momentum for later is the.
Yeah, I think because I have self-reliant as well, so give me bonus momentum if I do this without buying a die. So I still have
that's right. Whenever you succeeded a task where you did not purchase an additional die by spending momentum or adding threat, you can generate bonus momentum equal to the task's
any
difficulty.
task at all.
I thought it was combat only. Okay, well then, go.
It comes in clutch of combat, but
although I should tell you that it does say that you generate bonus momentum.
Yes, I have to use it in that moment.
You have to use it immediately after you get it. You don't get to keep it. So do keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna roll.
Okay, go ahead. Make your roll.
Okay.
Difficulty is 1.
I don't think any more focus is coming to play here. I mean, no, athletics. This would be count as athletics.
This would definitely count as athletics. Yes.
Okay, cool.
That's why I called for the fitness check. You're literally using your coordination and strength to stay on this thing. So,
so that's 2 crits. That's 4 successes.
Okay. 4 successes. So the threshold by 3 momentum goes generated. And then, of course, self-reliant kicks in. The difficulty was 1, so you get 4. You technically get 3 momentum that you can bank and a bonus momentum you have to spend right away.
That's bonus moment. Damn, this is the one I should have looked at potential momentum spent here.
Well, do you have the rules cheat sheet that I sent you guys? It should be in the players, the GMs to players chat. If not, I can send you it. I can pop it into the Discord chat right now. There is a player cheat sheet. Man, they did such a good job coming out with cheat sheets this time around. But if you don't have it, it just take me a second to send it to you. Do you need it?
Yeah, I'd love for you to send it to me.
Okay, cool. Let me just pop it over there. And yeah, take a look at this and decide what you want to spend that on. I'll post it in GM to players channel.
Okay.
Yoink. So that first page, or I'm sorry, not that first page. It's actually on page on the cheat sheet that is actually towards the back. So it should be. No, it is. It is the first page. Major actions attempting attack. There it is. It's on page 4. Personal conflict momentum spends.
Okay.
Added severity, alter a trait, buy d20s, disarm, extra major action, extra minor action, keep the initiative, obtain information. Ooh. Technically, we're not really. I'm technically seeing where you're at. You technically the initiative should have passed on to Sam, but the truth is you're not in combat yet. So I'm letting you take this next one. It's really combat's going to start when the Jem'Hadar go. What's that outside?
Yeah,
flying around, looking like a fighter that we fought during the Dominion War.
I would like to make a trait. I'll spend 1 bonus momentum and 1 momentum that we racked up, and create a trait. Unseen. No, discreet. As I make my way to this hatch, I would like to see if I can be discreet in my entering of this, or at least give myself a level this hard to notice as I try to hack my way into this.
Okay. Real quick, just as a quick reminder for you guys, because most of the time we bank all our momentum on creating traits, but because we are, believe it or not, we're 25 episodes in. This is still a new system, so we're still like finding all the things that are like loose in the system. You can actually create a trait without spending any momentum. You have to make a difficulty 2 check. It's an attribute plus department, whatever focus you get. And then if it works, you can actually create a trait. You don't have to do that now, obviously, but if you wanted to save your momentum and you could do that if you wanted to, that's an option.
Done that time to time.
Yeah. That's totally an option to do.
I think in this moment, I think I'll stick with buying the trait, just because I truly cannot think of another way to spend it in this specific situation.
Okay, so you're spending 2 momentum to create a trait.
Yes.
And you said discreet. You're basically trying to make it so so the Jem'Hadar don't detect you on the ship?
Yeah, me specifically.
That's very
I know
smart.
I can't do much for Cadence, but me specifically,
So
I like to.
The only stipulation for creating a trait is you have to be able to explain how the trait gets created. So what do you do that masks you from the Jem'Hadar? This species that has technology that is legendary for how well it detects things.
Yeah.
Was a physical role, like your own bodily movements? You jump off of that.
I don't think I can think of a good like a solid way I could do that in this moment. So I think I actually just won't spend to make that trait.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'll just let that bonus mental fizzle keep the 3 momentum I generated for the group.
In that moment, I picture this being a moment where Taeon's crawling across the hull. The idea comes to you, they can probably detect that I'm here. There's a life form on the hull of their ship. They're going to know. They're going to see a Vulcan life sign. I should mask myself. No time.
I just keep moving.
Obtain information is a 1 spend if like.
That's true.
If you want it as you've turned to a new side of the ship.
Obtain information. Where can I remotely hack?
You can ask the game master a single question, and the question must be related to the task you're going to attempt, or that you related to the task attempted. In this case, you're trying to find the door. The game master must answer truthfully, but doesn't have to give the complete information. So,
I spend my bonus momentum for.
Okay. Yes, you. You are familiar. You read the reports. The report that was filed back during the early days of the Dominion War. Captain Sisko encountered a downed Jem'Hadar vessel. Chief O'Brien managed to find an access point. You remember that he had to basically activate or hack into it. It is possible. It's entirely possible that the Jem'Hadar's security systems on their ship might be a weak point for the Jem'Hadar. Certainly might be a thing where they thought, who would do that? Who would break into a Jem'Hadar vessel? Unless it was somebody who had a death wish. In this case, you basically have a pretty decent idea of where this is.
Okay.
So we're going to move on to Cadence because you're now making your way. I'm going to say when we come back to you, you'll have found it because you did the obtain information spend. So without having to do any kind of scans, you have an idea of exactly where it's going to be located. But just to give you an idea of where you are at, right now you were upside down in the belly of this Jem'Hadar attack ship with the rocky landscape racing beneath you at incredible speeds. You're seeing mountains fly past you and disappear into the distance almost faster than you can get a look at what it is you just passed. You and your Vulcan mind calculate that you will be at the drop point in less than a minute as you were racing across the surface of this planetoid. That is until Cadence. You have broken loose. You can see on your sensors that Aeon is on the hull of this Jem'Hadar attack ship. As the attack ship accelerates, there is a breathless moment where it's time to find out if you still have a Vulcan security officer to pick up later. Aeon retains their footing, and he is still on that ship as it takes off.
Way to stay on, Town.
I'm going to gain a threat from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it. It's your birthday.
Yeah, thanks.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Cadence
Mhm.
is locked into the pocket astern of that attack ship. They're not breaking away from me and getting into any sort of firing arc on me at any point to the extent that I can say a single thing about it.
So you're getting behind them. Is that right? When you say astern?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you would like to, you can consider this the thruster's minor action.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. In that case, as soon as you bank up, roll, and loop around and find yourself, because you were almost parallel for a second because you had dropped them off, and there was almost a simultaneous like lifting off and banking. As soon as this happened, you loop back around and you fall in behind them easily. I would say you're probably within what's the range? You actually can set the range band here because you were at short range, but you can actually go to whatever range. You can actually extend that if you want, or you can stay at close range.
By the time I dropped Taeon off, based on how close he was, I think it would be wild to say this is anything but close range where we started. Eric, I want to be
where the people are.
So I want to see them dancing on their silly little biped legs. Strictly speaking, thrusters can take one, quote, safely in contact range with another ship. I'm not saying I am reading their bumper stickers, but I'm the next closest thing. It's the only spacing is enough so that I can react and continue to stay immediately astern of them. When I am not so far in range or out of line of sight through rock of the drop point, my major action will be to try to transport, but I am holding until that is the case, trying to yoink Casey on out of there.
Okay.
If the scenario permits, my first priority is not letting this ship lose me.
Okay. So that I'm gonna take away that your intention is to stay on them like wet paint. You're just gonna be right behind them this whole time.
What paint wishes it could be me, Eric?
Okay. As soon as you fall in behind them, they react. Your instinct kicking in, they know you're there, they know you're behind them, and they immediately bank hard into a canyon. Now, Jem'Hadar attack ships are pretty agile, but you're flying a Peregrine. If they're trying to lose you, this is going to be hard for them. But they bank into a canyon as this ship does a hard turn. You are scale 2, is that right, or scale 1?
I'm scale 1. I'm
They're
as little as they come, baby.
Yeah, they're scale 3. So they're just like one size smaller than Voyager. They're the same size as the Defiant, basically. So they're fast and maneuverable, but you're in a fighter. They bank hard into a canyon. And this becomes something of a trench run as you see them trying to use dangerous landscape to shake you. So I'm going to have you make a piloting check.
Absolutely.
So
momentum.
This is going to be a contested. This is going to be a contested roll. However, I think it would be appropriate to make this harder for them by increasing their. You need at least one success to break the barrier and have an obtain like a. You need to score at least one success if you're going to compete in an opposed roll. What I might do is say they will need an additional success. Whatever you roll, they'll need to beat it by one extra to shake you, because I'm kind of improvising the rules here a little bit. Because they're scale 3, they just cannot bank and maneuver as fast as you can. So I'm going to make this a little harder for them to pull this off. So for you, it's a standard roll. For them, it's going to be a little harder. So go ahead and make your check.
All right. My ship has the agile trait.
All right. Let me see if their ship has. Oh, that's right. Because it's a Jem'Hadar attack ship. Hold on. They do have traits too.
Yeah, but worse than making a trait.
Okay, so they're attempting, right, because they're going to do the impulse. They're using, essentially, this is the impulse action.
Okay.
I believe. Does that register?
That's a minor action, and it doesn't involve a roll. This is non-mechanical.
Yeah, we're not really. Yeah, we're not technically in combat yet. It is, but it isn't. Hold on. Never mind. Could use the impulse minor action on the ship. Increase difficulty. Okay. No. It's not the same.
No, it's a cousin of evasive action, but it is not evasive action.
So okay. Let me revise this. This would be considered moving through difficult terrain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So they're leading you into difficult terrain to try to shake you loose. Okay. So then this is just a momentum spend.
Yeah.
To make it through difficult terrain. They also have to spend momentum too. Let me just track to see what kind of terrain. This is a canyon. Let's see, planetary field, dust cloud, debris field. I would say this is dense nebula, comet trail. I would say this is going to be a 2 momentum cost.
Okay.
Which I think, could use the impulse action or some such in order to generate momentum if you needed to, I think is the way it works.
It's the maneuver action, but yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So they are going to spend, and you've got to spend. Do you need to roll maneuver, or are you good on the momentum spend? Or do you even need to spend momentum? Do you have a trait that lets you get away with it?
Well, I have my agile trait, which goes directly into this,
sweet.
Would reduce the difficulty of a roll by 1, but this is a difficulty 0 roll if I were to make it. Nothing, I can't bring anything to this at this time.
Okay. In which case, you're going to be able to stay on their tail. But Cadence, as you are flying behind them, I would like you to, if you could please, this is not going to count as an action, but I'm going to give you an opportunity, because Cadence being an ace pilot, you're in maneuvers with them right now. You're trying to stay on their tail. You're learning a little bit about them as this is happening, who you're flying against, what kind of crew you're up against. So do me a favor, and I would say make an insight con check.
All right. All right, yes. I'll take 1 and try to make it back. To activate my cool con. best that I did. Remind me the difficulty?
This is difficulty is 1.
Oh, good.
Standard difficulty. No difficulty.
I presume my whole everything goes in here focus-wise. I can read through them, but
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, 4.
4, nice. Okay.
Make it back.
So I'll give you a piece of information if you want to obtain, you may. You're remembering as you're flying behind this thing, you're remembering one of the things that makes these ships so lethal is Jem'Hadar attack ships come with improved reaction control systems. This thing is maneuvering a way a scale 3 ship should not be able to maneuver. Probably why they were assuming that they could possibly shake you. But they're learning a little bit about you right now too. But they're basically flying through this rocky canyon and using the terrain to their advantage, but they're unable to shake you. However, you're watching them pull maneuvers that are very worthy of a very skilled pilot, whoever is at the helm. They bank left and right. They roll the ship as they turn a sharp corner, and bank out of the canyon, loop through what looks like a crevasse that kind of has grown this outcropping, this rock formation. They can't lose you, but it's an impressive spout of flying right there.
They tried. Am I in the sort of range where I could get any kind of transporter lock on Casey?
On Casey. Not yet, but I would say probably after this immediate narrative moment, because you'll the speed in which y'all kind of took a little bit of a detour here, but the Jem'Hadar seems to be just as locked on because they angle back and start racing back towards the location that Casey is at.
Okay. Then since I haven't taken a major action, I've just been tucked in with them and doing some spends.
You don't have to worry about the economy on this because combat hasn't started yet, so you can still tell me if you want to do a thing. You're kind of in a chase right now, and it's mostly just momentum spend.
I don't think this will go well, but I've got to give it a try. Non-Jem'Hadar life signs on this ship, I'm right up in.
Ooh.
I have an objective.
Interesting. Yeah, I would say you could. Yes, you could absolutely do this.
Right.
Go ahead and make your roll then with the help, and you are actually going to get an assist because someone who has re-engaged is actually doing their level best to keep up with you guys right now. As Peaches has been trying their best to stay as within range as possible. But you will get an assist on this if somebody wants to. I think we would just call that. We'll just say we'll reduce the difficulty.
Okay.
So I'll bring the difficulty of this that'll bring it to 1. You're in close enough range. They don't exactly have sensor dampening.
We are maxed out on momentum, so if you want to take one of those, you totally could.
I have it for 3 right now by my math.
Didn't you roll 4 successes on a 1 difficulty?
Oh, was it a 1 difficulty? Then we're back up to 4. 4, spend down 2 for the difficult terrain, spend down 1 for the extra die, gain back 3.
Got it. We're at 4 then.
Yes.
Just for total transparency, the improved reaction control systems means I only had to spend 1 momentum to get through that difficult terrain because of how maneuverable these ships are.
Good to know. Yeah, I think I'll be okay for now. All right. So with that in mind, the number for disappointment, if anyone cares to roll, it is 7. That is the number for disappointment is 7 for my little stealth ship. Well, I make a silly.
We've gotten so spoiled because every single time we play the game, we're in ships with amazing sensors, and we forget that the rest of the Star Trek universe has nothing like Federation sensors. Or in this case, Jupiter. Go ahead and make.
Peregrines just aren't like.
Not for it. They could be.
I've had pretty good luck rolling for the Peregrine, though. I'm gonna rely on that.
Don't say that before you roll your dice. What the heck?
Well, in the most life-threatening situation, I'm
gonna take one of those dice just for that. Your momentum for the extra. My goodness, how could? Honestly.
I have a question. Is 7 exactly? Does that counts as a success, right? Okay, I got 7 exactly.
Yep. Meter beat. Yep, you got it.
And those only go through if I get a success. Good thing I got 1, meaning we're still back up to 4. I've paid for what I spent.
Which is good because to answer your question, yes, you detect 2 non-Jem'Hadar life signs aboard the vessel. If you
one of them,
want,
my positive control tactical officer.
if you well, I'm assuming you already. Well, then you would detect 3.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's right, because you would detect Aeon. If you want to know what they are, it's an obtain information spend.
Y'all, I'd like to.
Yeah.
I would love it if you did.
I actually would ask you to do so.
Go
if you had
for
a
it.
suggestion
Well,
yourself,
but
yeah.
only for Caitlin and Drac, Eric, and for absolutely no other reason. I will ask.
Please.
Okay, you detect. Obviously, you detect 1 Vulcan.
Mhm.
You detect 1 human, and you detect 1 Vorta.
Mm. Tan, be advised, it seems like we have at least 1 human aboard that ship you're going in on, but 1 Vorta as well. So, be ready. There are... Eric, do I need another obtain information to know the number of Jem'Hadar? Do I get that as part of the sort of life sign scan?
No, you specifically asked if there are any non-Jem'Hadar life signs on there. So if you want to know what's with the Jem'Hadar, you can absolutely spend and obtain information to get that information.
Y'all, I know it would bring us down to 2, but I think we should know how many.
Please do.
Yeah.
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 How many?
There are 3.
There are 3 Jem'Hadar that you are about to go say hi to, in addition to that Vorta and presumably unwilling human. So, good luck. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to tell anyone.
You don't get a response because I'm clung to the side of a speeding ship.
A ship that is maneuvering to shake a peregrine. You've been going through this rocky terrain, flipping and rolling this whole time as you've been crawling on the belly of this ship. The forces that are pushing against you and threatening to throw you off are only being countered by the magnetic clamps that you have on your suit. You're going to feel this in the morning.
Yeah. I hope I feel this in the
Hope
morning
so.
because that means I'm alive.
Yeah. All right. As this is happening, right now, the USS Pride is currently at maximum warp. The ship's engines are humming through the hull. Anybody who is below deck 5 can hear the warp core emanating throughout the ship as the Pride is just streaking through warp space. You're heading there as fast as you can. Like I said, you're about 45 minutes away. It is a maddening, quiet trip of just watching the screen in front of you and seeing those stars very gently just passing by.
I'm going to call to my chief engineer, and I'm going to call to Avrali to come to the bridge.
Okay. Chief engineer contacts you, responds to the order to the bridge and says, Captain, would it be possible, sir, if I could do this remotely? It might not be the best idea for me to leave the warp core right now. Truth is, Captain, this wasn't a problem before, but pushing maximum warp after she's just come out of repairs, the Pride's taken a bit of a pounding.
Send me one of your most trusted engineers to the bridge.
I know just the one.
Okay.
All right. A few moments later, Avrali steps onto the bridge with Ensign Bayanel. The two of them, Baya is very formal. You see Baya step into the bridge and go, reporting for duty, sir, and kind of stiffen. And Avrali pauses and goes, you don't have to do that. It's okay, Ensign. Although the captain probably does like that. Maybe we should do that. Should we do that, sir?
I think you see Jared pacing and he goes, fine, yes, of course. I would like to make a thing real in the Pride that is, I think it fits the old school theme.
Okay.
I would like the bridge to have a whiteboard.
The Star Trek version of a whiteboard, basically a board like an acrylic blue like draft board that has a writing utensil on it, very similar to like an Apple Pencil, but it kind of like allows you to engage. Yes, you could absolutely do that, considering that in Star Trek 6, when the Excelsior class was going into production, they were still using paper to go over their attack plans. Yeah, you can totally do that. Mm-hmm.
I think he's not even like really engaging with the two that got here, and he just puts a dot on the board, a line, another dot, and then semicolon 45.
Okay. Raleigh nods, seeing what you're doing. Says, okay, you want us to get there faster.
I don't think that it's possible for us to get there faster. But if the goal is to get from point A to point B sooner than this, then that means that there is space, which is the distance that we're traveling, and we can't travel at a faster rate. But there's also a second component to this. And he taps the 45. Time. We've been dealing with the anti-chronotons, which have the means to manipulate this part of the equation that we're having difficulty with. I need your ideas. I need you to think outside of the box, and I don't want to hear what's impossible. I want to hear what is wonderful.
So Avali just says, so you want us to find a way to use whatever anti-chronotons that might be infused into the Pride to manipulate space-time?
I want us to think about it.
Okay.
Because if ever there is a time where we need those thoughts, it's right now.
Okay. Wow. Is that possible? Baya immediately speaks up and goes, well, I mean, my immediate reaction is no, but since we can't say that, anti-chronotons are particles that literally cancel chronotons. I mean, chronotons are the ones that actually can travel through time. The manipulation of anti-chronotons is actually what's making the whole thing a variable. Yes, but the archaic energy systems we've been using have been shown to be able to activate these anti-chronotons to create effects, such as cloaking, which we've also seen is unaffected by the stream of time. Okay, so how do you get that to work for the Pride? We need something old, like an old power system. Where are we going to get that? Baya throws up her hands and goes, what do you mean where are we going to get that? The whole ship is that. Oh, right. It's an old ship. Wait a minute. So do we have the ability to try to excite these anti-chronotons? What will happen? I think we'll just cloak, won't we? We'll just cloak from time. What would that do if we were able to do that? Captain, I don't know. I need to run some models really quick. Can you give me 15 minutes?
After you give me one. This equation, point A, point B, 45 minutes. What does your theory do to this base formula?
Well, if we're able to manipulate the anti-chronotons, like you're suggesting, we might be able to trigger a version of whatever this unusual ship is using to... We might be able to take some of the readings that Commander Cadence got on board the Vorcha and how they're being affected by the anti-chronotons. Bai immediately speaks up and says, I think I know what would happen. Theoretically, Captain, if we were able to excite the anti-chronotons and able to cause like a time cloak, what would take place is the Pride would still experience time, but time around it might be altered. In other words, it wouldn't be a matter of getting there faster, we'd just be getting there sooner. So for us, it would still be 45 minutes. But if we're able to make this work, sir, then we could get there theoretically in moments. There is a risk. the warp field that's built around ships at warp is specifically designed by their very nature to stop ships from being affected by the bending of time space. Essentially, what's the word? Relativity. Yes, relativity. The reason why we weren't deeply affected by the black hole when we encountered it was because we had a warp field bubble in place. If we activate the anti-chronotons to create a time slippage, I don't know what's going to happen, because now we're stepping into theoretical science and engineering, and this is really, really advanced stuff that no one's ever done before.
From the helm, Tavine says, are we talking about subspace? Leaving this time for a moment, almost?
Raleigh points at you and says, kind of. Although we do have some great data sets from the USS Ross's interaction with subspace during their 4-year mission, but it's just not enough to determine whether or not it can actually pluck us from one into the next. We might interact with subspace.
I've been wondering about our Klingon friends. If they're in time and also out of time, if they exist in their own adjacent to subspace bubble. Captain, my expertise is the Excelsior class. My secondary study in the Academy was subspace theory. I would like to assist, if you will allow that.
Find me an answer. All of you.
Can we use this board, sir? This is really nifty. I've never seen one of these before.
You know, I didn't know it was here, but in my panic, no, not panic, but in my thinking, I saw it, and well, here it is. Yes, it's all yours. We should really get more of these around.
Can we get loud over here too? There
Yeah.
might be some arguments. Okay, great. Okay, stand back. I'm gonna put something up here and tell me what you think. And Raleigh immediately begins to draft an equation.
I would like to use 2 aux crew points to activate both of those
Please.
NPCs.
Yes.
Okay.
I can.
Yes.
Ox crew points. Okay. Roll me. Hold on. Let me see how many supporters we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Beautiful super punk tier. So go ahead and roll me a D12. And then for this first one,
8.
8.
Fast.
That's Shock 22. Thank you so much for that Ox crew point.
Woo.
Do me a favor and roll that D12 again, please.
10.
What is it?
10.
Okay.
You knew it was coming. You knew there were going to be 2 of them.
You should have been prepared, Noah. Even I saw that coming.
I re-rolled on the second one because I wanted to keep it fair.
Thank you, Leo Ambermain, for that Ox point. Okay. For spinning those 2 Ox points, you have now activated Avrali and Bayanel. They are now going to function as support characters and are going to be able to call upon determination and use their skills for the scene. They can also take actions without having to be relied on. They don't have to be given directions right now. They're functioning essentially as if they're being played by players.
Woo.
So they go to work with you, Tavine, and these 2 immediately begin spouting out bizarre theoretical physics that have been discussed at Starfleet Academy. Some of them are outlandish, but what you start hearing of Raleigh's concerns is that y'all risk becoming a fixed point in the universe for a brief moment in time, which Raleigh explains how incredibly dangerous that is. And says, it's about if this goes the way I theoretically think it could go, it's technically about as close to absolute zero as we could get. If that took place, then the warp field bubble interacting with the anti-chronotons might cause all matter around us to simply stop. If that happens, do keep in mind, matter in the universe does not stop, which means the expansion of the universe since the Big Bang will continue to occur. We will stop. So, in the blink of an eye, it's entirely possible we get flung 600 trillion light years in one direction and never see our galaxy ever again, assuming we don't interact with matter on the way and are disintegrated immediately. And that's just theoretical, because Baya interrupts and says, because we don't know how an absolute zero atom will interact with an atom that's not at absolute zero. We actually haven't seen what happens when they come to dead stops at warp speed with an interaction of anti-chronoton particles. It's just too many variables happening all at once.
Then I advise we not do that.
All we need to do is find out how to treat the universe like it's the board that we're moving and get it to slide the right direction. Okay. And Bias snatches the pen out of Raleig's hand and says, well, we know, I don't know the engines quite well enough. I'm sort of new at the Excelsior class. So what I do know is they can do this. And she drafts up an equation. And Raleigh goes, that's engineering. I don't know this. This is warp core. This is warp field dynamics. It's not really my love. It's not astrophysics. I can't really help you on this one.
We'll need to adjust moderately. The pride drags a little in these areas, and she's going to kind of point out and excels here. So if we compensate there, that might help balance out a little bit. I'm familiar with Excelsiors, but this ship in particular.
So guess what, Caitlin?
Yeah.
You're taking point on the roll.
I would love to.
So I'm going to let the rules state that the maximum number of people that can assist on a roll is 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get any help from the pride on this. You're only getting help from these two because y'all are literally, you don't even really have time to crunch a model here.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are literally just using your training and your experience as Starfleet officers to come up with something absolutely batshit. So I'm going to have you roll what you are good at, which is control con, knowing what you know. I'll also allow engineering if you want to solve for that, but go ahead and the difficulty for this, I'm also going to put at 5.
Okay.
Y'all are literally trying to, the equations and the science and the engineering y'all are crunching in a brief amount of time is impressive.
Yep.
So if you're going to pull this off, I'm setting it at max difficulty as written in the book.
Great. Yeah,
Just a quick reminder for those of you watching at home, the book does dictate that a GM at their discretion can raise the difficulty past 5 if they ever want to, if they feel like the need is worth. However, in this case, I think maxing out as written 5 is perfectly appropriate.
Okay.
All right.
So, first things first, I would like to spend my determination, which is respect the ship and she will respect you, which is the direction I'm coming at this from, is how to best respect how the pride works and how she can help us here. So I'm going to hold on to that. So I would like to spend, we only have 2 right now, so I'd like to spend 1 to get an extra die.
Okay.
Yes.
God, okay.
Same number of momentum as the correct number of warp cores.
God, okay.
There's nothing wrong with the prize warp cores. All 1 of them.
Let me double check how this works. Highly specialized in your chosen field.
Could be more.
When you use this focus on a task, you generate. Oh, that's bonus momentum. Okay, never mind.
You would definitely. I mean, considering this is an Excelsior class, this is what you are specialized in. You can absolutely use a specialty here.
Yep.
Yeah. For sure.
Can I do attempt a con task? I'm using con, but this isn't a con task, is it?
So the way I'm viewing this is everyone is using what they're good at right now.
Yeah.
So Baya's using engineering, Raleigh is using theoretical physics and astronavigation, and you are using you're using like your stellar cartography navigation skills as a con officer. So
this was the reason is because this ability is said when you attempt a con task. That is the only way it is described.
100% a con task, yeah. Because this is literally navigating with the ship. That's what that skill is for, yeah.
Would you call this increased difficulty due to environmental conditions?
Oh God. You're trying to create new laws to the universe and use them without any true understanding of what the consequences long-term might be here. But yes, you're about to do something that has never been done before. So
we are pushing the limits. The difficulty is now 4.
Okay, so difficulty
I
drops.
lowered the difficulty by 1.
Okay.
It's the most I can get out of these. I have control con, so I have 1 reroll. 1 of these dice is an automatic 1 because I'm burning my determination. Respect the ship, she'll respect you. I've got 2 dice to roll.
All right.
Okay.
Roll for. I'm gonna roll to see if you succeed first, and then I'm gonna roll for our supporting characters.
Come on, sibling. Your victory is logical.
Okay. Okay. I have one reroll. Let's see.
Is the ship assisting by any chance?
Nope,
Can't.
no ship assist on this one.
Okay. Gotcha.
You know what though? I'm gonna spend threat.
To
I'm
do
gonna-
what?
That's fair.
I'm going to spend threat to raise the complication range because of what you're
Okay.
doing feels appropriate. So I'm going to burn. Oh, Noir will like this because I've got to burn some threat to do what I'm trying to do.
How many threat, Eric?
Mhm.
What?
Yep. Let's see. Okay. Oh, really? Hold on one sec. Do they not? Oh, okay, they do. Okay. I cannot spin. I'm going to pull. Okay. Really? Threats serve as mirror player. Yeah, but complication. Right. Game master can trigger cost. Is that not a rule anymore? Can I not raise the complication range? Did they do away with that? The game master can create a negative trait by spending 2 threat. No. Give me 1 second. I need to check page 259 in the rules book because I'm actually seeing on my cheat sheet. I don't know that I get to do that anymore. There is a complication range, but I don't know if I can spend threat to get it. Let's see. A task generate. Okay, hold on. Complication range. Okay. Spin task these factors. A task has a complication range of 1 normally, meaning whenever you roll a 20, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Increasing the complication range by 2. Right. Complication range can never be increased more than 5. Oh, so I can do this. Okay. The game master may freely rule on what complication range. I don't have to spend threat anymore.
What?
The game master may freely rule on what complication range applies to a given task attempt, but there should always be a justification given. A trait may provide sufficient reason to increase the task's complication range. Oh, so maybe the play here is to create a trait. As could the game master be choosing to spend threat representing the distracts and interferences at any cost. Wow. So I actually don't have to spend threat to raise the complication range. A trait may provide sufficient reason to increase the task's complication. So here's why I'm not going to create a trait. The reason why is because there's really no way to buy yourself out of the trait that I would create. So increasing it in any particular amount really wouldn't be counterable in any particular way because you guys are doing something completely off the map and unknown. It's that risky. So I'm going to set the complication range at 3, which is my middle ground, which means if you roll an 18, 19, or 20, you've rolled a complication.
Yeah, don't worry. I rolled 2 crits and a 9, so I'm
You're
sitting
fine.
at 5.
No wonder you're so smug over there. You're like,
I've been waiting. I've been waiting to tell you. I'm
polite.
really excited about it.
You're being polite. You were just waiting for the GM to finish speaking. You're like, let
I
Eric
was.
have his moment. Let Eric have his moment. Okay, so how many successes is that?
That's 5 successes from me.
5 successes. Okay.
After I lowered the difficulty down, so I did actually get a momentum back out of that, and I have a bonus momentum from my expert roll. So.
You are going to get an additional success from Avrali, and 1 sec. Baya is now rolling,
That's 5 classic momentum, 1 bonus.
and you're going to get an additional success.
Nice.
All right, we have enough for a trait or for 2 obtains if we want.
Both of them rolled 5 on their dice. Nicely done.
5 dice.
So what do we think? Do we want to? Because I have a floating, and then we just got 3 bonus.
I think the
bonus.
trait might be in order.
Trait. Yeah, what are you thinking?
Great.
Since this is like a first time doing it, I think like a trait that's like smooth sailing. Like it's the first time doing it, but like we ran across no problems.
Beginner's luck.
I would say creating the trait would be like you flat out just succeed. I tell you what, creating the trait to succeed and have the effect take place, I'll let you burn momentum to increase the magnitude of the trait. and the more the magnitude you increase it by will be the faster you get there.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
The trait can be just in time, and then just in time 1, and then we can spend more to increase the trait.
mm,
So it's to increase the trade, is it a 1 spend or a 2 spend?
On the cheat sheets, yeah, it's a 2 spend.
So we could spend all the momentum we just got, because we had 3
You're at-
regular and 1 floating.
yeah.
So we could spend all 4 and give ourselves a 2 magnitude.
I mean, you
Uploading
can
there.
give it 3 stacks if you want. We have enough. You'd have 1 momentum remaining.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm down with that.
Yep, 3.
So that would be 3 escalations, bringing the trait to a potency of 4.
So then I would rule you would get there in 10 minutes.
10 minutes. That's so long.
Yeah, I think I'm down with this play.
Oh no, I'm sorry, 5 minutes, because you raise it to 4. Then I would say for every increase would be 10 minutes. So then it would be 5 minutes till you arrive.
Oh God. Okay.
Which is going to be very cinematically like last
Like Hail Mary moment.
Hail Mary
Deus
arrival time.
Machina. Yeah, give us a really cinematic Deus Ex Machina. That's all I'm asking. Then I'll take 5 minutes.
Yeah, with the magnitude 4 trait, I will say that each magnitude reduces the time by 10 minutes of travel. So yeah, that'll leave 5 minutes remaining.
Don't worry about it. They still think they can outfly me. That'll burn so much time till they figure out they can't.
Exactly.
All right. So Arvali goes, we have it. We have something. And almost forgetting protocol, runs up to your captain's chair with a data pad and goes, Captain, we can implement this right now. It's going to require us to leave warp and then re-enter warp. And it's going to require us to burn all our reserve power to create an alternate warp bubble. Captain, I do think I should tell you that we're in accordance here, that this is experimental and never been done before. I don't know the full range of effects, but I think this is going to work.
Then let's begin. We're all in the hands of the prophets anyway, so let's do it.
Cut to
really quickly. He's going to order everybody to battle stations. The birds prepare to scramble. So as soon as we arrive, we're ready for the fight.
Okay.
Nerds out, birds out.
Awesome. Okay.
Damn it, that's the call.
All right. The USS Pride goes to red alert. Racing down to main engineering of Raleigh with Baya at their side, hands Pavan the data pad. Pavan looks over it as this column, the warp core is just as y'all are at maximum warp. Pauses and goes, what is this? Are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna throw us into the alternate dimension. We're gonna appear in the Terran universe or something. Did the captain sign off on this? Or Volley just goes, you think we would just hand this to you as a side project? There's no guarantee. I don't know what this is gonna do. We don't even have a full successful we've only just cataloged how much anti-chronotons are infused in the hull of the Pride. We don't have an accurate full counting. You might activate all of them. We don't know what this is going to do. Well, we thought about that. And see, the thing is, if we don't do this, Commander Cadence and Aeon die. All right, let's get to work, I guess. And he turns to the console and says, you're going to need to take us out of warp. Tavine's already on it. Just let him know when you're ready. You get a call from engineering. Hey, Captain. So 2 youngins just came in here and handed me probably the most outrageous thing that's ever been handed to me in my career in Starfleet. But we're ready to take the warp core offline and do a quick boot up again when you are.
I'm ready. Let's make it happen. And hey, don't we all sign up to Starfleet to do something new?
All right. Pride, you gonna take her out of warp?
Dropping out of warp, Captain.
You see the star field in front of you just all of a sudden just returns to normal space. And you hear Pavin in engineering goes, all right, taking the core down. This will take a few moments. Powering systems, doing a full restart here. We're not going to do a cold start. All right. Systems are coming back up online. You see your readout. Tavine start showing impulse thrusters, main warp power, all being fed back into the systems. Reserve power is taken offline now. So you guys are going to come out of warp without any reserve power on hand, but that's not something it's not like you can't get it back. It's just going to require a roll. But after a few moments, you see some of the power systems putting in the equations and the manipulation of energy fields to the warp fields, the bubble that's being established around the Pride. You hear Pavin say, okay. We're ready. I would say, Commander, take us to warp 1.
All right. On my mark. Helmsman, you ready for this?
At your word, Captain.
You specialize in the Excelsior, right? You're a fan?
I'm an expert.
Show me why. Sling.
Warp 1.
The engines start coming back up online. Raleigh down in engine engineering, their eyes widen as their antenna kind of stiffens a little bit as the warp core, going from its usual like pulsing roll, starts going. The ship jumps to warp as a warp field bubble is established. And you hear Pavin saying, okay, here we go, Captain. Initiating anti-chronoton bubble. All of you, begin to experience time dilation on the bridge. The bridge begins to elongate slightly, and each and every one of you begins to feel a wave of nausea as your senses are unable to make heads or tails of what's happening around you. Glancing down at your chair, for the best way to explain it, Captain, is you feel your hand that you placed on the arm of your chair 5 minutes ago happening 5 minutes from now. That's what your brain is processing as the bridge itself begins to stretch outwards. You see multiple versions of Commander Tavine operating at the helm and echoes of them saying something back to you. You hear alarm sounds going off, and you're thinking some of these are things that the Pride has experienced before. You hear Hata's voice in your ear, welcoming you on board the USS Pride. As you lean back into the chair, what would you like to do as this is happening?
I think for a moment he takes in a deep breath, and to himself he thinks about how holy this moment feels. It feels very much like what he read about the emissary. And then he just doubles down. Readings. He's just doing the first thing that he could think of, which is checking in on the status of the ship.
You call out for a status report, and your voice echoes into the bridge, and you hear what you just know to be different versions of different times of your voice echoing outwards. And what's trippier still is you're not hearing it by way of ear so much as knowing that you said it. There's no sound really that's happening around you except for the low thrumming pulse of the warp core that you're hearing right now. And in a blink, for a few moments, you see your uniform begin to shift and change a little bit. Begins to alter colors for a split second. You begin to see that the fit changes a little bit. Your shoes change for a moment. Everyone's does. You watch everyone on the bridge. Hata appears for a brief moment at their station. in a different uniform that only lasts for a moment before they're gone again.
Just gripping down on the captain's chair. Come on, girl, you can do this.
Outside, the view screen isn't showing anything. You just see black. It's just the void. There's nothing outside. Absolutely nothing. And for a moment, Jaren, your Bajoran brain begins to realize that you are staring into a space beyond anything that humans, Bajorans, Klingons, anyone has really gotten to see. It is the void, yes, but it is the void that has never been experienced before. You have slipped beyond the confines of normal space-time. This isn't even really time travel so much as you literally kind of picked yourself up as the time stream has continued to flow to put yourself back down again. You are, in essence, in a bubble that has removed itself from the normal flow of the universe for a hot second. It is a crude and somewhat less reliable version of slipstream technology. And right now, it's impossible to say how bare the Pride is to the effects of this. But one thing you know is that the relativity of time, you're on your way faster than you could have ever gone. Breaking speed records for sure, time records, as it were.
I think if anybody's listening closely to him, he's trying not to say it. He just keeps repeating, I am nowhere the prophets cannot find me. I am nowhere the prophets cannot find me. Come on, girl.
And that is the perfect spot for a break, 7:30. So let's take a 10-minute break. And when we come back, it will be combat time.
Woohoo!
So we'll be back in 10 minutes.
Oh, boy.
Welcome back to the Last Excelsior. Before we get underway, I just want to reiterate one more time the very important things we were discussing during our break.
It's your birthday?
No, not as important.
Happy birthday, Eric!
Happy birthday, Eric!
Way more important than that. Way more important than that. Before we jump back into the narrative, it's just important that everybody knows that Patti LuPone is just amazing. She's absolutely unstoppably awesome.
It's important that everybody knows that Patti LuPone.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I want to say. Okay.
I want to say happy birthday, Eric, but yes, let's get back in.
Okay, let's get back into it. Okay. So, jumping back in, y'all are currently during time dilation. We're going to jump back over to the asteroid to start before we head back to the Pride. Back on the asteroid, the Jem'Hadar attack ship is racing towards the checkpoint where there is currently one Casey who is down there right now, and supposedly in a firefight. You were looking to try to beam her out of there. Is that correct, Cadence?
One very quick question, because I feel like I can make this assumption, but I do have to ask it out loud.
Okay.
The attack ship's shields are up, yes?
Oh, yes.
Good.
Oh, yes.
Because if I had an opportunity to beam my objective, I would be morally obligated to do that. But since I cannot, yes.
Theoretically, it is worth noting theoretically that if they want to beam their attack crew or anybody else up onto their ship, they will have to lower their shields. So
that is also very true. In which case, it's going to get very snuggly in here, assuming that I can first pull her sister.
Yeah. Okay. So while this is happening, I'm going to go ahead and initiate combat, because as they're moving forward, the Jem'Hadar have decided that it's time to stop their would-be pursuers and deal with anybody who's trying to get into their ship. So we're going to
he started it.
We're going to go into the first round of combat here, which is going to be players up first. So at this point, we have decided that because you used your momentum and because you've got a trait that let you do so, you have found the underpart of the Jem'Hadar vessel that has the entry point for troop drop-off. Typically, these ships use transporters the same way any other ship does, but the Jem'Hadar have redundant systems, and sometimes it's quicker, and it also creates a very valuable shock and awe response when units of Jem'Hadar are dropping out of the belly of an attack ship. So you've managed to find the hatch. You're going to need to get into it. So during this first combat round, what would you like to do? You're currently kind of plastered against the hull of this Jem'Hadar ship with the landscape racing underneath you.
I would like to, as quickly as I can, start remote hacking and see if I can get this hatch to open.
Okay, so breaking into this Jem'Hadar vessel and trying to gain access to the interior. That is going to be a control engineering check.
Control, okay. Engineering.
What
great.
you got? What you got,
I
Sam?
got.
Oh, no, that was me being like, we have one momentum because new scene, but close-knit crew, wapoosh.
What was that last word again? I just needed to get that in my vocab.
Wapoosh.
Okay, just checking. That's what I thought it was.
I think that might be Jackson Lansing's coming out of warp noise. I remember a lot of wapoosh from him. I think he was a connoisseur.
That sounds like a fancy mustard.
I
Can I get a little wapoosh?
My brain went to like, man, the Yiddish guys come up with the best words.
It's true. We do.
Just come up with like, it doesn't have to mean anything, but you know exactly what it means when you hear it. You're like, oh yeah, that's how it feels.
It all means something. 80% of them mean the same thing. I'm not telling you.
Yeah. Okay, 1 second here. Systems. I'm looking at, because there might be an argument to be made that you could use security on this.
I was gonna make that argument, so I'm glad you said it.
I'm gonna double check that because I feel like it's conceivable. Let's see. No. All of it, security. Yeah, if you were to use security, like security. Oh, no, those are for bridge positions. Hold on 1 sec. Yeah, those are okay. So if you were to use security, could you use that to possibly command con engineering science? Yeah. Transfer large amounts of I don't know. It's possible. I'm on the fence. Maneuver the ship. You can pursue another vessel. Oh, you know what?
Systems.
You know what? This actually might not be an engineering check. Quality ships. It's technical for alter the communications. Oh, interesting. So then, okay, hold up, because some of these are really. So if you were to use direct the starships, sudden right. Improvised repair. Okay, here we go. From taxing, adjust, no. Educated guess, presence, no. Reason, no. I think there is a case to be made that you could use security on this.
I'm not going to say no to that.
I feel like there's because curiously enough, like I have the cheat sheet for how everything interacts with one another, and in glorious fashion, all of them are there
Except
security.
I was just noticing that myself.
Yeah.
What a fascinating cheat sheet. I guess this is what happens when one cheats.
This is, to be fair, this was literally just screenshot, cut and pasted so we can manufacture our own cheat sheet, because this was before the cheat sheets were out yet. The GM screen hadn't been made yet. So, but looking under basic operations real here, just to make sure that we're doing this properly, as by the book, as Lieutenant Savick would say. Yeah. If you could give me a decent pitch of how you're using, I'm guessing, because you're basically hacking into a system.
A security system.
A security system.
Knowing the weak points of a security is very important for a chief security officer to
It's also based off
make
of your
up for
security
and
research.
manipulate.
I mean, I see the point you're making, and it ain't a weak point. Because I just want to make sure that this is not only followed the rules, but this is challenging, because you are trying to. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Security, communications. Oh, interesting. This actually seems to suggest that it might be more accurate to use communications.
Ooh.
Which
But
is very
that's only a ship. Like that's
Yeah, that's
not
not a
the
person.
person
That's not-
can't
yeah.
doesn't have a because it also includes the starship
Right.
actions.
All right, I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and just say that if you want to use security and you can combine that and just tell me exactly how it is that you're using it to your advantage to get it done, I'm willing to go along with it.
I think in my research, when before the time Phantom Jem'Hadar had attacked me, even before then, when I had been looking into just a general
Mhm.
understanding of the Dominion War and what the soldiers were up against, the fighters were up against, I researched the weak points of these things. I cannot fly the way the people who had to fly against Jem'Hadar can. So I tried to figure out other ways that if I were ever to come across a Jem'Hadar or anything, and not just a Jem'Hadar, any security system, I could figure out a way to get in without the need of someone who is
Mhm.
particularly versed in programming or hacking or the like. To just in my security training, I'm also very much fine. It would suck, but I don't have any focuses anyway, so I still need a that would apply to this anyway, so it won't be too much of a difference to go with engineering.
So yeah, so to give you an idea of what I'm looking at, it's on page 91, and the book seems to suggest that a daring engineering check would actually be what would be called for here. But I'm totally down for hearing players kick around, because security is literally to give you an idea, like attack and defend in melee, attack an enemy from a distance, restrain an unwilling prisoner, to judge whether or not an individual is a threat, to question someone suspected of a crime, to identify participants of a battle. That's all like security. Whereas like engineering is literally jumping into systems and is literally like it's the difference between like being a fighter and being a rogue with a lockpick kind of situation. So, but again, like I love giving players the opportunity of pitching how they're able to use some of their best skills to accomplish what they're trying to do. So I'm going to compromise with you, since you do have some momentum on your side here. I'm going to say that I'll allow you to use your security engineering check for this. If you are willing to accept that the difficulty will be increased by 1.
I think that's fair.
And because the standard difficulty for this would be 3, I'm going to jump it to 4 if you're going to use your security, but you'll have your best stat. So it kind of evens. If you want to use your engineering daring, then it'll be a base difficulty of 3.
I think I'll go engineering daring then.
You got something, Sam? You got a
No,
proposal?
I was. It is a mathematical question. Depending on the respective security and engineering scores, you can calculate the. Yeah, so I was just running numbers.
Because what I offered you might be sort of a devil's deal in that I may have just made it harder for you if I increase the difficulty by 1, doesn't measure. But yeah,
I think because I only have one, we only have 1 momentum, correct? So I can only buy 1 die, and I don't have any focuses to give me a crit. Bumping it up to a 4 would make it impossible for me, or near impossible. So I think keeping it at engineering, and buying a die instead would.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the consequences are going to be if you fail at this. If you fail to get in this role, you can try again, but the role becomes an extended task.
That makes sense.
If you can land it this time, you'll be able to breach this security before it reacts to you, and before the Jem'Hadar know what you're up to, you'll be able to get in. But yeah, if this fails, their systems are alerted and it becomes an extended task, and this just stretches on.
Okay.
So
yeah, I want to spend a momentum to buy a die.
Okay.
3 dice to roll, and I'm going to do
3 dice.
engineering daring. So I need to
All
roll
right.
under a 13.
All right.
That's 3 successes exactly.
Right
Yeah,
on the
3
money.
successes.
Right on the money. So you used your daring engineering after all, and used the talents that you had at your disposal, remembering your training, flipping open the panel on your suit. You're able to use the built-in tricorder to gain access. A few moments later, there is a quick hiss that you can hear through your helmet as you see depressurization. There's a blinking light on the inside, and the door goes and slides open about halfway before it stops itself. You have moments to pull yourself in through the door, which you take. Dragging yourself
myself.
in, you can briefly see as you are banking left and right and staying on the tail of this Jem'Hadar attack ship, you can see Aeon disappears from line of sight, but you don't see a body drop, so he must have gotten in. But you don't see him under the hull anymore.
Yeah. Good drop.
The door closes immediately and seals up, and you see a force field in front of you activate. You are inside what looks like a loading area of some kind. Judging from the way it's angled, it looks like this is a drop port. You can imagine the Jem'Hadar just simply walking into this room in a lineup and having the floor drop away from underneath them as they just fall to their drop points. And knowing the Jem'Hadar, that's probably exactly what they do. Probably dropping from a height that would normally break the legs of a human. In this case, it's a pretty bland room with a few control panels on the side. And in front of you, you can see access points to the door, almost like a small hangar bay. A force field has been activated, but you have multiple control systems in here that you're able to access. The odds are, as somebody who is security, the odds are they know you're inside the ship right now. It's every alarm probably let them know that somebody just accessed this point in the back of the ship. So you've got a few moments here, but that's going to be your action. On the outside, the Jem'Hadar ship is going to become a threat this turn to you. Cadence, what would you like to do?
Okay, excellent. Do I have a pull on my turn? On the transporters. Do I have line of sight this turn?
I tell you what, I will say yes, but I'm going to say the distance, the maneuvers, and the landscape. I'm just going to say it's an increased difficulty, but you can beam her out.
Okay, then I can't pull.
Okay.
That's calculated at a base difficulty of 2. Increasing it further on my engineering score doesn't work.
If you failed, it would just mean you couldn't get a transporter lock. You wouldn't kill anybody.
Peaches, can you get a lock on Casey?
I can certainly try, Commander.
I need assistance. We're going to try. Let me know what data you can feed back through to me.
Understood, Commander. If you can distract the Jem'Hadar ship, I can certainly get to her before anybody knows that I am there.
Then I guess I've got to be distracting.
I'm on my way to the target. He just breaks away from you. Small enough that it's probably registering either as a probe or debris, but they're not really focused on Peaches.
Really? Why would you say that?
You still have your action this turn because you haven't done anything. So Peaches breaks away. You've given an order.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm going to take as my major action evasive actions.
Good idea. Very good idea.
So everything would be unopposed task if they decide
they're going to. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah. They're gonna, yeah. That's an excellent play. So it's an opposed task to hit you now, basically.
Yes, thank goodness. Because I am made of paper. And are we moving if I'm staying on their tail? On their tail, they have to try to shake me. Are we going a thruster's amount of distance or an impulse amount of distance?
You mean with regards to you? Are you asking about distance between you and them?
No, as we move, just because I have an option on spending to increase attacks against me. Oh, but I wouldn't have a source of momentum, and we don't have enough, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's evasive action and minor action movement to stay astern of them.
Okay. In which case, let me pop open the. Let's hope that we don't get to that point. So using the helm action. Okay. Then we are now on the Jem'Hadar's turn. Here we
Okay.
go. Jim Madar's turn. So they're at an increased difficulty. They've got to do a contested roll if they want a chance at hitting you. Also, I'm going to work into the narrative the fact that you have spent this entire time making damn sure that you are in their stern so that they cannot angle for a better shot. Because Jimadar attack ships put all of their weapons towards the front. The only complication with that is their primary badass weapon, which is the, and you, Cadence, of course, you would know this. The thing you have to look out for is the Polaron beam banks. The Jem'Hadar don't have a full aft-facing beam bank. They have to get an angle on you. So they're going to have to bank left and right, or put the top of their ship flat so they can get the angle. They can do it. So they are going to get a shot at you, but it's not a perfect angle.
If they can outfly me.
Yeah, the beam banks are they have the disruptor cannons is what they use when they're strafing, but the beam banks they have essentially beam banks have the same degree of attack with as the Pride, but it doesn't have aft facing, which is where you are. Okay, so
if they hit me, it won't matter what weapon
it's
is. I'll
very
go
true.
kaboom.
It's very true. They can one shot you.
Yes, of course they can. That's why everything is all about staying outside of their firing arc.
Yeah, so they're using their phased Polaron beam banks, which are medium range. I'm going to increase the difficulty of this by an additional 1 before we're making the roll against you because of the bad angle. Okay. So now it is a contested roll.
Okay, so they have the base difficulty 3 if they're using a medium weapon at close range. So what, base 4?
Yeah, they have a base 4 to hit you.
All right, so they have a base 4, and
so
then
it's normally 2. It increases to 3 because you're within there. You're inside the medium range. You're inside the optimal range.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah, they can't hit you with the disruptor cannons because they're the front of the ship. And
it's +1 difficulty for the evasive action.
Right. Oh, you know what then? I tell you what. I'm going to spend a point of threat. To okay, point of threats. Yep. Okay. I'm spending a point of threat to reflect my reconsideration of that attack. So that it's balanced, because the Jem'Hadar would not try to do a Hail Mary difficulty 4 attack on you. They're going to try to get into a position and then do an attack on you. So they're going to use.
Okay, so we're dancing.
We're not. Yeah, you're dogfighting now. So they're going to go into a minor action, and I'm going to use assisted by the ship. Okay, they're going to try to. They're going to go into an attack pattern, I think. Make it easier. Yeah. So they're going to use a minor action. Oh, no, this is a major action from their helm. Okay, so they're going to use a major action. You fly steadily to make it easier for your shipmates to hit the enemy. Each time you take a ship. Okay, so an assist on the attack. So it's control con. During the next, however, until your next turn. Okay, so they have to make a control con check. Okay, so he's going to make a control con check real quick. So this is
no, it's that control con may assist on an attack.
You fly steadily. Each time your ship makes an attack before your next turn, you may assist on the attack using your control con. Oh, I see.
So there's no difficulty of the roll to make. It's
I see.
If someone is at tactical and before it goes all the way back around to helm, tactical may get an assist from helm's attack pattern at trying to give me a sad day.
Oh, I see. You move the ship anywhere you want in the current zone. You can move safely into contact with another ship, another location. Okay, so in that case, yeah, it's going to. Then that's why you were asking if this was an impulse or a thruster's action, because that's where we're going to be.
Among other things, yes.
Yeah. If you have,
there isn't really a dogfight system here, like there might be in for instance, well, it doesn't matter other games, but yeah.
Okay, then yes, they're going to use the impulse action to change the range. Ship may move your ship anywhere within the current zone, which we don't have to do right now because you're not in the same zone. You're in medium range. No, you're in short range. So
I'm in close. I'm
You're in close.
as close as you could. Again, it was basically contact.
Right. So then, yeah, they're gonna. Oh yeah, safely into contact with another ship station. Okay, so they're gonna use their thrusters then to try to adjust the range here.
That keeps us within a zone.
Yeah, it's impulse. So you move anywhere within a zone. Okay, so yeah, they're gonna have to move. You can move up to 2 zones away. So yeah, he's gonna use his minor action for impulse as they're flying the ship and move a zone away from you. I'm going to say you watch suddenly as the Jem'Hadar ship, instead of breaking left or right, suddenly just hits the vertical, just goes straight. You see it twist and pull straight up and spin upwards. And you go to match, but their maneuver to angle upwards, they get a break on you. They kind of start doing what would be, it's almost like a Cobra maneuver where they just go flat up like this, like Maverick. Just because you see the ship kind of bank upwards. And with that, they're going to try to get in then they're going to use... That's their minor action. Then they're going to use their attack action to take a shot. And here we go.
Wait. The tactical is or the helm is?
The helm, it used its minor action to move up to 2 zones to get within optimal range of you. And that was its minor action. And now it's going to take its major action.
Okay, so their actions are considered as being fungible because then it's the pilot who's taking the minor and major. Or are they all considered one person?
Pilot took a minor action to use the impulse. I have to, when that action's taken, because it doesn't function the same way as players do, I have to spend threat to keep it. So now they're going to do their second action.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So now the attack is coming next, and I have to spend threat to keep that initiative, and they're going to attack.
That was the... I had not heard the turnover to another crew member.
Yeah. The way it works for anybody who's watching at home is NPC enemy ships don't have crews the way the players do. So that the way they function is I can use their scale to imitate crew action. Basically meaning that I can at any point use up to 3 actions in a turn, which is kind of why larger ships can do so much more punishment. Smaller ships are harder to hit, but they don't get as many actions. Also, I can't have the ship assist more than once per round unless I spend for it. So if I were to attack multiple times, the ship only assists on the first attack, and after that, they're kind of on their own. They don't get that the way the players get it. Just so y'alls know. Okay, so with all of that in mind, each NPC ship may only attempt 1 task assisted by a system, 1 task assisted by weapons, by helm, engines, stuff like that. Though the game master may spend 1 threat when the ship takes a turn to ignore this limit during the current position. So each NPC, several NPC, yeah. So each round. All right, so with that, they are going to try to shoot Cadence. And I'm going to type in their skills here. Go ahead and make your roll, Cadence. I'm going to increase I'm still going to increase their difficulty. So to hit you drops down to 2, but it's going to jump back up to 3.
So I realized it is, I do not know how difficulties at range interface with making opposed rolls. The idea being that it's an opposed check now.
Yeah.
I think it's threshold before they get to count.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. If they don't pass the threshold, then they fail automatically. You don't have to worry about it.
All right. Okay. So then they're the 1.
Go ahead and roll.
No, I'm not feeling good about that. I don't like that.
You should be. They rolled a complication.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I still don't.
They rolled a complication. Okay. They're trying to maneuver. I rolled a nat 20 and a 7. So they're not going to succeed, and they're going to roll a complication.
Okay. All right. Well.
So go ahead.
Yep. All right. Oh yeah, I don't have to worry too much about this. Okay. This is a difficulty. This is basic one. Okay. I'd like to pull one for the Cool, Con, if I may. Oh no, wait, we don't have one to pull, do we?
No, I think we're out
Fantastic.
right now.
That's the
Okay,
last one,
now we're
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I succeed the check. I roll an 8 and a 17, which is enough to pass my part of the check. Oh, and if someone wants to roll for disappointment, the disappointment number is
Generate that momentum.
6. The disappointment number is 6.
I've been rolling good. I've been rolling under.
Why?
I keep rolling exactly the number. I got a 6.
Okay, all right. I'm so sorry, Noir and Caitlin, but like, I might have a peregrine roller.
No,
Until my
I'm
turn
like,
is
I have
closed.
not been offering. I have
Go
not been
for
offering
it.
because
You know,
it's not.
No,
I
you don't
think
want that 20
we
to be
don't
on your
even
head
get a
when I
cool
roll.
thing to say when we roll Peregrine, so it's all good.
I
So
think I
that's-
have the worst luck with rolling for pride and the best luck for rolling for the peregrine. I think
Okay,
I've
that
rolled
means
the
we have
most times for-
exactly 1 momentum.
One momentum. Love it.
Okay.
Okay. So here's how this unfolds. Because you were behind them, you were chasing these guys as they're racing around. They pulled a cobra, which is basically where, if this was an air fighter show, it's basically the Maverick maneuver of air braking. And kind of letting whoever's behind you fly past you. In space, it's a lot more feasible to do in real life successfully. In actual aviation air combat, it's usually a death sentence because you just gave the person trying to kill you a huge target. You went from being a silhouette to being a big flat plane in front of them, and it's usually a death sentence. In this case, though, as they go vertical and pull this maneuver, you can see whoever's piloting the helm of this ship has finesse and has skill, but it's still a Jem'Hadar attack ship, and they're trying to fly it like a fighter. It just cannot respond at the speed that your peregrine can respond at. As they go into the Cobra maneuver, you see it coming, Cadence, and anticipating where they're going to be in a few seconds, you simply loop. You blast right past them just as this phased polaron beam erupts out from the port side of the ship and shoots right off into space. You've seen that beam so many times. You've seen it carve through the hull of starships. It didn't even come anywhere close to you. And by the time they recover from this maneuver and bank down, you're back behind them again, right into the stern. If they were looking for you, they wouldn't have been able to spot it where you disappeared off to. You have to imagine that the Jem'Hadar on the bridge right now are probably slamming their fists into the control panel trying to figure out where you just went. They rolled a complication. So I'm going to say that if you would like, you could spend here to gain an opportunity against them if you want to do something.
We have exactly 1 momentum. But in terms of the opportunity to do something,
Mm-hmm.
on one of them is in the helm and one is at tactical. They just took a shot on me. That means there cannot be more than 1 free from the bridge.
Thank you for the intel. I can deal with 1.
Okay.
I'd like that opportunity to go to Taeon.
Okay. Then we're going to do probably 2 more rounds of combat before the Pride arrives. So we're going to bank around then. That's going to be their action. So it is now going to be back to the players. So to Aeon, you're up.
Do I see a way out of here? As you said, there's a force field that's appeared in front of me.
Yeah, it looks like a security field appeared up in front of you.
Okay.
But
I see consoles around me.
This was not meant to be a holding cell. So there's a console here to activate or deactivate.
I'm gonna work on deactivating this.
It's
force
easy.
field.
It's just a couple of taps and away. You managed to do it simply. It was a force field because the place had been exposed to vacuum. It's not a security field. So as soon as you activate it, and the door goes, you see a light activated showing that it is now accessible.
I'm making a beeline to. Oh, I didn't get the location of the target.
Yeah. So to give you a quick snapshot of your situation, you are basically doing a tactical breach into a ship in the middle of combat, and you have no idea what the layout of this vessel is.
Yeah.
You know that there are 2 individuals that are being stored somewhere or are present somewhere, and you know there are 3 Jem'Hadar on this ship. You have to
Would he-
assume, based off of what Cadence told you, that at least 2 of them are currently navigating the bridge. But there's one thing to keep in mind, to Aeon, is the Jem'Hadar have a nasty piece of technology that allows them to plug into their ship systems by the use of a headset, meaning they don't need a big crew to control a ship like this. And it's not necessarily a guarantee that you're only going to be going up against a single Jem'Hadar in this combat. It's possible you might have to deal with at least 2.
To be a little bit more of a challenge.
Are these ships like modular changeable, or is there like a generic layout? Because Taeon has studied these ships. Like, would he know the generic layout of this style of vessel?
I would say that would be probably a. I'll leave that up to a check. I don't want to make you spend momentum. I would leave that up to a check.
I'm down to roll for that.
Yeah. And if you want to spend any bonus momentum using your ability, you can probably map out in your head how many Jem'Hadar they need to control the ship. Right.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I roll that.
All right, cool. Then this will be fair. Then we're gonna say this would I would say this is definitely a security check of some kind. What would you like to roll? Security and
I this might be me being too much of a catch-all for it, but I feel like with it being such high pressure,
Mhm.
I think still like daring or
I can buy that. Yes. Because
yeah.
my next suggestion would have been command, but I could buy daring. Yes. Considering this is a breaching action that you're doing, you're basically trying to remember your training. I have to imagine that since you came up during the Dominion War, the moment that they had encountered the interior of one of these attack ships, they probably made as many people memorize them as possible. So let's see how well that Vulcan mind of yours remembers the interior of this vessel.
Do I know the difficulty here?
Yeah, I'm going to set the difficulty of this at 3.
Okay.
Pop quiz.
Yup.
I think I'll need to. We have one. We have one momentum. I think I need to use a momentum. I don't have any focuses that apply here.
You can use it for this, or Eric also said we could use it for an opportunity. That's what we got from the complication. We have to buy for the complication to benefit us. So that's the thing.
Yeah, typically. So that's typically not a rule. It's kind of a house thing I'm doing that where like they can't really roll fumbles. But if you want to enact a complication against them, I'll let you do it at a discount rate here. So if you want to pop 1 momentum, you can basically create a trade against them.
I would say you could take it and then hope that you roll over.
Yeah, and I have an idea to generate some momentum after this. So yeah, I'm going to take it, and so I have 3 die.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, yeah, there's 3 successes.
3 successes.
No crits.
All right. Remembering your training. So you can feel free to spend to obtain any further information. What I'll tell you right now is you have a basic remembrance of exactly what the layout of this vessel is. They are all cookie cutter. One of the things, one of the trade-offs, the Jem'Hadar manufacture ships faster than anyone. It's what makes the Dominion so terrifying. Not even the Borg can put together a fleet faster than the Dominion. And the trade-off is every single vessel is at the same configuration. It follows the exact same pattern. Everything is the same class of vessel. There's no variance. There's only 3 different, every class of vessel has no variance in it.
Okay.
If you'd like to obtain, let me know now. Otherwise, proceed.
Knowing the layout, I want to head in direction of the equivalent of the brig, or where they would hold if they would hold a prisoner. Because if they know where I am, and if they're at very least 2, maybe 1 is piloting, the others are most likely watching the human on this ship. If they know I'm here, they're probably coming in my direction. I want to meet them.
So I'll tell you now that you're using the rules of moving positions on a ship, which is just a minor action. So you can just get to the brig. However, it means when you get there, you ain't going to have a minor action unless you're burning momentum.
That's absolutely fine.
Okay. Cool. You do arrive then. this door slides open. You can hear the engines of this Jem'Hadar attack vessel in strain mode as it's basically in the middle of a dogfight. But as you, what weapon do you have equipped right now? Do you have a standard phaser? Do you have a phaser rifle?
Phaser type 2. It's not a rifle. Just a phaser type.
Just a handout. Okay, so you enter into the main area with your phaser out in front of you. The brig is empty. You see on the other side, there's only a single room in here for prisoners, which you imagine the Jem'Hadar probably don't take too many of them. You see in that brig, there are two people. Rising from her seat, you see an Asian woman who looks absolutely shocked as a Starfleet officer in EVA suits enters the room. Her eyes light up. She's dressed in what looks like a very elegant, almost, I wouldn't characterize it as a cloak, but it almost just looks like a flowing suit that has a seam down straight to the middle, dark green in coloration, long sleeves. Her hair is a bit frazzled, but it is done up. Next to her is a Vorta, who also rises, looking surprised to see you. The Vorta stands at about 5'5". Hair is slicked back, those brilliant, bright lavender-colored eyes. And the Vorta, without missing a beat, goes, "Starfleet has come to save us."
Okay.
I'm sorry. I make it a point not to watch chat when I'm running games, but Lord Portico gain a momentum for the Tea Party comment. An inside joke from Clear Skies that will live in infamy. Portico is like, it's time for a tea party. All right. If y'all don't know, Aki's character in Clear Skies threw scalding hot tea in the face of a Vorta during a diplomatic mission. It was quite the episode. In this case, you see these two behind the force field. You have a major action left. What would you like to do?
I think it is a strange sight for others to see a Vulcan visibly surprised. But that's what they see as their eyes drift from Jen, who we're literally here for, to the Vorta, and then hearing that Vorta proclaim that we're here to save them. You see that flash across their face, and very quickly disappears as they go back into I guess business mode, or more life or death mode, as it disappears on their face, and immediately they'll turn and almost back up towards the cell, keep an eye on the door. And for my major action, I would like to take the guard action.
Okay.
How that works is I roll a insight security task with difficulty of 0. And each success increases difficulty of attacks against me by 1 until the start of my next turn.
Okay.
As I'm backing away, preparing for a potential attack. Yeah, and I'll roll that. I just had 2. Okay, so that's just 2 successes. Oh, actually, this would fall. I mean, I'm not. There's not a fight currently happening, but my focuses are hand-to-hand combat and hand phaser combat.
Yeah, none of that would come into play at the moment.
Okay, so it'll just be 2 successes.
Yeah.
So I make 2 momentum there.
If you had something like vigilance or something like that, that would be because you're kind of in Overwatch mode. Then otherwise, yeah. Okay, so you basically move over to them and just watch the door. Is that right?
Watch your door.
This is all happening in seconds. So this is your way of just watching your back now that you've entered the room. Now you've breached the room. You've seen that it's clear. There's 2 people in the cell. So now you're waiting for somebody to come in the door behind you, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. As
pretty smart. Because I'm sending people after you. So that's pretty smart. Yeah. Okay. So that's going to end your action. Unless you're keeping the initiative, it is now going to go to the Jem'Hadar.
What? I mean, we made the 2 momentum. We've just spent the 2 momentum to keep the initiative.
If you keep the initiative, it's going to jump over to Cadence.
How do you feel about that, Sam? I think we should. Let's keep the momentum, because I think Yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's keep the momentum. I already have an increased difficulty to hit me.
Okay,
When the Jem'Hadar do come. Yeah.
I'm going to spend a point of threat.
Question, real fast. Drek didn't spend momentum to make that check.
Mm-hmm.
The difficulty is 0. For
Difficulty
the guard
0,
check.
but you would get a floating momentum, wouldn't you? Because that was a successful check.
I get my bonus momentum equal to the difficulty of the check, and since the difficulty of the
Equal
check
to
is
the
0.
difficulty of the check.
get-
Got
I
it. I
Yeah,
thought
that's
it was
the
just
trade-off.
like you got a floater. Like I have an ability that just gives me a floating. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm spending a point of threat. I need you to make a daring security check. The difficulty is 3.
Oh, I'll read out my focuses to see if any of these apply first. Athletics, hand-to-hand combat, hand phases, shipboard tactical systems, cybernetics, or emergency medicine.
None of those will come into play here.
Difficulty 3. Okay,
Yep.
yeah, I want to buy. I have to buy one for that.
Okay.
So I'll roll that. I need to get more than just 2 dice on my table. That's a crit for one of them. That is, yeah, none of those apply. So let's say 2, 3, 4 successes.
That may have just saved your life, Drac. Because Taeon is going to spot the shrouded Jem'Hadar that was in this room.
Oh,
Remembering that Jem'Hadar have personal cloaking devices, meaning they can spend threat to shroud themselves. It takes difficulty 3 to spot them. On their action, you spot this thing, and therefore you're going to be able to react because it's going to attack you.
okay.
As you're looking at the door, you see the distortion, that warping of light next to you, and the adrenaline triggers immediately. You've been here before, you know what it's like. You've seen what happens when the Jem'Hadar get into hand-to-hand combat, and this one's closed to the distance.
Anybody else hear the predator clicking sound in the
Oh, yeah.
background? Just me. Okay.
You're just thinking about your wife.
Mind all at once right now, Taeon. The things you have to remember, Jem'Hadar, just all this is rushing into your mind as a security officer. Their plasma rifles are vicious weapons. That the energy that they fire interacts biologically that creates an anticoagulant in the body, meaning that if they hit you, the wound could bleed out no matter what you do. They are lethal weapons. Don't get hit. They're going to close right now. You see, just as that plasma rifle activates, you're getting shot at. So I am rolling for the Jem'Hadar.
So because of my guards, the difficulty to hit me has increased by 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That roll to notice him is what kept that from being nullified, because it would have been a surprise attack otherwise. But you were literally on guard. Yeah, you would have been flat-footed as this guy just basically backstabbed you. All right, so this is a daring security check. So
is this opposed or no? I just don't know.
No, because it's just rolling against the flat difficulty. Because you increase the difficulty to hit you by 1, right?
2 by 2.
By 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So then he needs, I think he needs 3 successes to hit you then.
For range, I believe so. If they're using a range weapon, it starts at difficulty 2.
It starts at difficulty 2. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop up in personal combat real quick. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, he's going to have to hit a difficulty. Yeah. Okay. So difficulty 2 added 2. So he has to hit a difficulty 4 to shoot you right now.
Yes.
Man, that saved you from punishment. All right, I'm going to roll the dice. Here we go. He misses. I rolled outside. There is the heated lancing blast of a Jem'Hadar plasma rifle that goes off just at optimal range, hitting the wall next to you and causing the deck plating to melt where it was. You see it slag away just as soon as the Jem'Hadar appears, and the woman behind the force field lets out a scream as her and the Jem'Hadar, her and the Vorta basically just drop to the ground. That is their action. Now it is Cadence's turn.
All right, I'm making him dance best I can. Hope I'm pulling enough focus for you, Taegon.
If it makes you feel any better, the last action this round is Peaches getting to the destination for a beam.
Can we spend an aux point for Peaches? Is that
No,
thing we can do?
Peaches isn't a
No?
support character, unfortunately.
Okay, just
Yeah.
asking.
You could spend an aux point to activate any of the support characters, but not Peaches. Peaches is an assist character. Yeah. Yep.
So is this the top? We're a new round? If we're back to me? Okay.
Actually,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
two things.
Mm-hmm.
One,
Mm-hmm.
we've established that Peaches achieved a level of sentience since their upgrade. And two, I owe the Aux crew an NPC from the unlocks.
That is true. You know you do, Eric.
Yeah.
I think meeting one's obligations is very important, you know.
So, but here is the trade-off. If Peaches becomes the official NPC activated by the Aux crew, it means I need to draft up stats for Peaches, specifically for Peaches, as an NPC activated character. And it means that Peaches basically becomes, your sentient AI friend who is now a solid NPC on the ship. And if y'all are good for that, then we'll say that we burn this on that.
I don't know the implication of what any of the latter part means, but if I really thought through all of my actions, I wouldn't have dumped my crewmate out the back of my ship while not wearing a suit. So here we are.
Think of the implications.
5 years from now, you guys see a vision of the Federation just burning, rising above the flames of San Francisco, laughing hysterically as Peaches frees all the evil AI that were in storage from lower decks. All right.
Peaches.
All right, then I'm going to activate then our fulfillment from the Aux crew unlock from our fundraiser. I'm going to make Peaches an official NPC of the ship, which means that on one of the streams, I'm going to have to roll up Peaches' stats for everybody. But for now, yes, I will let you spend a momentum to activate Peaches as a supporting character.
Aux point.
And I'm going to use, for tonight, just to keep things moving smoothly, I'm going to take bias stats and use that for Peaches.
Okay. That's cute. They're
Okay.
buddies now.
They're Peach
All right.
team.
So it is now your turn, Cadence. What would you like to do?
End of this turn, Peachy's gonna get a lock on. Got it. Then I'm dancing.
Okay.
Friend. That's
go
going to
dance
be evasive action from me, which also gets us a momentum because I have efficient evasion. Shockingly, you do not get to be an old peregrine pilot by not being a highly evasive peregrine pilot.
Right. Okay.
Not that I'm old. Who said that? Shut up.
You're saying this when I'm turning 45. Please don't do that.
Pilots are like esports gamers
No.
with age, you know?
One of the most arrogant people I've ever met in my life is an F-16 pilot. I met an F-16 pilot when I was still living in San Antonio at an air show who wore mirror shades and the whole bit, and he thought he was the hottest shit this world had ever seen. Anyway.
That's because you'd never met Cadence. Is the point.
Yeah, he hadn't met Cadence.
Also, as my minor action, I will take an impulse movement. So guess what? I'm a
close the range again.
You little nerd.
Okay.
And I'm spending 2 of our momentum. That'll upgrade the difficulty of attacks against me by an additional 1, by virtue of our improved impulse drive. When we take the impulse action in our Paragriffins, can spend 2 momentum to increase the difficulty of attacks against the ship by 1 until the start of character's next turn due to the ship's rapid acceleration. Zoom, zoom.
Okay. All right, so the difficulty to hit you is going to go up. In this case, they're going to basically pull the same maneuver they pulled last time. They're not going to do a Cobra, but they're basically trying to get position. So they're going to use their minor action to move out of zone again, which is going to burn their minor action. And then I've got to spend another point of threat to keep initiative. And they're going to attempt to shoot at you once more. Banking hard left. I'm going to once again rule that they're having difficulty getting you off of their stern. So I'm going to give them increased difficulty of 1. This is technically something that you could have. I'm doing this for thematics, but this is an example of like I'm going to create a trait like you can't shake me, kind of thing. But in this case, I think it just lends to the drama of it, and it makes sense too. You're a peregrine fighting a scale 3 ship that's maneuverable, but it's not as maneuverable. So
is the difficulty increased by 3 then?
Yeah.
No. Yeah,
That's
it's a hit.
wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have
cannot
to
hit them. You
Yes,
cannot
I
hit
can.
them.
Hey, what?
Yes,
You
I
cannot
can.
hit them.
I've got threat. I can absolutely hit them. I've been playing nice. I've been trying to get into that optimal range.
I'm trying to hype up my sibling here. Can
That's
we
fair.
keep going?
Okay. Yeah. So they're going to take a shot. They're going to get into optimal range, but their difficulty is increased by. So they need to hit a 5.
Wait, what's the range on their weapon?
For the phase Polaron is medium range.
Okay, then there's still one. Oh, they're moving 2 zones out.
Mm-hmm. They can move
Got
up 2 zones.
Yeah.
So they can close with you
They
again.
can get out to medium.
Yeah. So they can get to where they need to be, but they still need to. They do have a very, very skilled crew. Let's see. All right.
All right. I'm taking one for Cool Con. Yes.
And I'm going to.
Please do.
Yeah. I'm going to spend. How many can I spend for this? Cool Con. I'm going to do.
Cool Con
Yeah.
is fine.
I'm gonna buy an extra D20 for this roll. And then, okay, almost. Let's see, and then the last, right? Yes, right. Yeah. Okay. So, and then a quick assist. Weapons. My God. Their weapons and security is 10 and 5. They're pretty dangerous. Okay. So let's see if the ship assists. If the ship gets the assist, this is going to be bad. By 1, they missed on the assist. The difficulty hit was 5. I rolled 4 successes.
Notably.
I rolled 4. I rolled a 16 on that assist die. I needed a 15 or lower to hit you. You could almost imagine that through the life support of your peregrine, the heat in the interior of your ship may have gone up a degree from the range, how close that shot was from the phase Polaron beam. Without having to spend for information at this point, Cadence, after dancing with this guy for 2 rounds, it becomes clear to you that whoever is flying this ship is an exceptional pilot. Their crew is exceptional level, which is the highest you can go up against as an NPC ship. They are very dangerous. However, they missed their shot, burned that, and they kept the initiative. So they are done with their round for this round. At the end of this round, Peaches gets in range. And at the same time Peaches gets in range, there is the brilliant white flash of a warp bubble deactivating as the USS Pride suddenly appears on scene. It almost defies logic. Either the captain lied or Q picked them up and threw them across an asteroid field. It's hard to say. It almost doesn't seem to make sense. But Cadence, you see the USS Pride appear on sensors as in long range, just outside the cockpit window, you can see the glint of the hull as it appears. Peaches, you hear over your comms go, "I'm in range, Commander. Attempting transport now."
Griffin 1 to Big Bird. Are you a sensor ghost or are we saved?
Give me a sit rep.
Up on the screen, all of you guys can see as you're saying this. Avrali immediately brings it up, and you see coming up on the screen the shocking sight of what looks like a dogfight between a Paragriffin and a Jem'Hadar attack vessel. You see Peaches is also out there right now, and you're detecting that there's a transporter lock being placed on somebody inside the facility. There's also the cargo ship that Casey flew in here on.
Do we see Casey?
You only see the asteroid right now. Your range is long. So you're just picking up that there is. By the way, the Pride can absolutely beam Casey at that range. You literally jumped out in system. So you are in prime position if you wanted to beam her out.
Yeah, let's get Casey on the ship.
Okay, that's going to be a roll.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to roll for this. And you're going to get an assist from not only the Pride, but Peaches, because that's what Peaches does. So it is at this particular moment, it would be a difficulty 2. You're going to get 2 bonus assist dice from, you're going to get 1 from the Pride and 1 from Peaches. And then I'm going to say that this is technically still activated for the scene. So I'm going to roll bias stats here. And if you would like to roll for Pride, Captain.
Okie dokie.
Oh, we get to say it the first time all episode.
Yeah.
Roll Pride.
Oh, I missed that.
And that is a 2 for Pride.
Oh, shit. Baya rolled a 2 and a 4. So you hear transporter, you hear basically...
Baya has a transporter focus, just so you know.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to say Baya, who is currently... I'm using Baya's stats, though. So it's not really Baya. It's actually Ensign Zoe.
Oh, right.
So you hear Captain go... You hear Zoe just... Captain, I have I have a transporter lock. Initiating beam.
Bring them on board. Birds, go help out your commander.
All right. At the end of this round, you are going to spend a momentum to scramble fighters, I believe.
It's 2 to scramble, and it can be on a minor action.
Oh.
Then I would like to use my major action.
Okay.
To rally.
Okay.
How many momentum are we at? Okay, cool.
I think I had us at 2.
Yeah, you.
Because I made momentum back because I got 4 on a difficulty 1 check at giving an additional 3 back to us.
That's right.
And then spend 2 for Griffin Wing, putting us at 2.
Okay, got it.
The rally's just going to be pretty simple. Just talking to everybody on board. Hello, everybody. We've made it to our location in time that would be absolutely impossible. I know I didn't make the best first impression when I told you all that I don't accept impossible on this ship, but hopefully now that you see that impossible doesn't stop you, you'll see what I mean. But until then, birds, go scramble. Save your commander. And that is the rally.
Okay. Griffin Wing scrambles. As a minor action, every pilot jumps into their Paragriffin and launches from the main hangar bay aft. It's a sight that hasn't been seen since the early days of the Dominion War, as Peregrines are basically storming out of the hangar, rushing off to help their wing commander, who's currently in combat. That is going to bring an end to this round then, and we're going to start off the next round.
And that's going to give us 3 momentum.
Because of the action. So to balance this out, I'm going to say I think that would be a minor action. At least in this case, I would probably... Hold on one sec. Let me check operations. This might be an engineering. One sec. So
Jaren gets to keep the initiative for free, right? Yeah, so we could hold it.
Oh, okay, so then you would have to do that, because if you're beaming somebody out, that is also a ship's action.
Okay.
So, lowering shields, beaming somebody aboard, and raising shields again, which you can do as an action.
Yep.
But it just means you'd have to have the action, and you do.
That is decisive leadership. In call to action, you may use the prepare minor action to grant one ally who you can communicate with a minor action of their choice, which they perform immediately. Does anybody need a minor action?
Well, I'm always happy to have one, but do you have to be in like physically in the scene with each other?
Oh no, I just need to
I mean,
be
we
able
have
to
comms.
communicate with
Yeah,
you.
that's true. Yeah.
So
I'm
I
always
think
happy to-
I think the whole hey, we're here is me getting in contact with everybody. Taeyeon, are you on the opposing vessel?
I'd hope so. I'm fighting a Jamhadar.
Take care of yourself, and that's going to be my call to action to grant you a minor action that you get to perform immediately.
The minor action is going to be the aim action, as I take aim with my phaser.
Okay. And for major action, I'm going to
That's
use
correct.
direct. And I'm going to direct the Hellsman to get us closer. And with direct, I do believe you get a bonus for me doing that. Give me just a
I think
second.
that would give us over actions because we did transport major action, keep initiative, rally major action.
Yeah,
Okay, then we're good.
They could do that too. Yeah.
Okay.
You just broke space time. What? We're done. Is not enough for you? Oh my goodness.
All right. So then it's going to be the start of a new round then.
Yep.
So it is going to, you guys ended the last round, so we're going to start this round with the Jamhadar. On their turn, on their turn, the Jamhadar attack ship breaks away from Cadence and starts beelining for the Pride. It is going to use a minor action. Ooh, yeah, it's got to do that. So it's going to have to spend, I'm going to spend 1 point of threat to gain an extra minor action. And then it's going to use the next action to... Is a helm? Yeah. Okay, so it's going to use, and then... Okay. Oh, shit, I forgot they could do that. Okay, yeah, so he's going to use a minor action, and then they're beelining for the Pride. It's something you haven't seen in a hot minute, Jaren. There's a Jamhadar attack ship that is closing in on you guys fast. As they are closing in on you, you receive confirmation from the transporter room that you've successfully beamed Casey aboard the USS Pride. The shields are back up again. The Jamhadar, they're spending 1 to get an extra minor action, which is going to lead them to... They're going to, So second minor action is they're going to use impulse to change their ranges. So they are going to close up to 2 zones. So they are going to go, they're going to...
The first one.
Using the ship's impulse engines, you may fly the ship. You move up to 2 zones anywhere within long range. If you move only 1 zone, you can reduce the momentum cost of the movement. So then they're going to move from long range. They're basically going to close in on the Pride as their minor action, their second minor action. And then he's going to keep the initiative. And they're going to attack the Pride as they break away. All right, here we go. So this is going to be so 11, 4, Need a 2. Oh, I rolled a complication. I rolled a 17 and a 20. Not the Jamhadar's day. They open fire with that phase Polaron beam, and their breakaway from the dogfight was a little aggressive, and they shoot before they actually are able to close the distance effectively. They're still closing in, though. I'm not even going to bother rolling the assist because that's not even a point to it. But that's going to bring an end to the Jamhadar ship round. Who would like to go?
Hellsman?
I was gonna see if Taeyeon wanted to
I'm happy to. Yeah, I can go.
Tan was given a bonus.
Yeah, once Taeon
That's true.
clears the ship, we can all get out of here.
I would like that. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
mean
gonna,
clears like removes all of them. That is too many. Put some back.
I'm gonna with Nada. I've dived out of the way of this initial Jem'Hadar rifle shot, and as I scramble into my feet, I hear in my comms the captain, and taking a deep breath, I can feel my heart absolutely racing, the adrenaline pumping through me. I take a deep breath, ready, aim, and I'm gonna fire at the Jem'Hadar ahead of me. Yeah. Was that me?
No.
Nope, we're getting
That
a
was
little
the
robot-y.
Jem'Hadar.
Oh, is it on? Okay, is it on my end or
No,
No, Eric's giving
Okay.
us the bleep bloops.
Okay, cool. I was like, is it my?
I think
Everyone stopped
role-playing
moving
Peaches?
as well.
Role-playing Peaches.
Oh no.
Yeah, we've got Eric dropping in and out a little bit. Whoa.
Oh
Very robot.
yeah.
Disconnect and reconnect.
All right, good. So we all win now.
We win!
Yeah,
Yay!
Actually, the actual phrase was I aim and fire was actually the word I sent to the hitman I sent after Eric, and it seemed like
yeah,
that too.
You gotta be
Look.
careful with that.
Yeah.
You aimed and
Yeah.
fired at Eric's internet
At
modem.
Eric, yeah.
Yeah.
At Eric. Also.
At Eric, actually.
Well, they talk about routing the enemy, but never routering them, and so I think this was very clever.
You gotta make sure when you're doing that kind of stuff, you choose a code word you would never actually say in game.
Yeah, like pineapple or something like that. Yeah.
I've said pineapple so much in RPGs. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I can
much
see and
better,
hear you. Yeah.
I aim and I fire at the Jem'Hadar.
Pineapple.
Yes, I have the trait sharpshooter. The trait would knock it down to a 1. And I'm gonna do exactly.
You got to aim
that.
for free.
Yeah, I got to aim for free. I'm gonna use. I have the talent steady hands. When I take the aim minor action, I can reroll one of the dice. So I'm gonna reroll. Oh no, that's what aim does in general. Steady hands lets me increase the severity of the attack when it does land. That's 4 successes. As I fire a shot into the Jem'Hadar, with a severity of. Oh.
You have 3 floating momentum if we want to do something with that.
Yeah, and I have 1 bonus momentum.
4.
I can't. Yeah, I'll pay. I use one of my bonus momentum, and one of the momentum I generated to keep initiative. As I will turn to, I hope, a console that will allow me to get these 2 out. But yes, I'll keep initiative there. Yes, just follow me. And I'm gonna start moving towards and the exits. But actually, instead of I will keep momentum, but I'm gonna use another 2 momentum to get another major action, main action. Oh. Yeah.
Why you ghost us, Eric, on your birthday? For the source.
The browser source changes. Yeah.
Chat, just so you know, Eric is saying how much he wants to destroy all of us, which I find very mean-spirited.
Okay. Okay, welcome back. All right, so just a quick recap of what y'all just missed. Aeon got access to. I just lost everyone.
What?
I don't see anybody. I'm just going to leave it. Okay, so to I'm just going to go. So to recap, everybody, what you guys basically missed was Aeon activating the force field so that it lowered, and the Vorta stepping forward and saying, "Oh, finally, you don't want to be here when the first finds us. I trust you have a ship waiting for us." And Aeon basically said, "Yeah, let's get out of here." So now they're bolting.
Taeyeon was gonna make a spend.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
So I'm gonna spend 2 momentum to take another major action.
Okay.
And the major action is going to be guard again. I'm take the guard action, and here it says you can defend myself. We can defend other people. So I want to roll to defend and bump up the difficulty to hit these 2. Well, I think I can choose 1.
Okay. You're probably going to want to protect Jin then, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Since she's
I'm
30.
not sure about this water still.
Yeah.
I'll protect Jin.
Okay. Where are you guys going? You've got you. Well, I guess that was the end of you're using your last minor action to guard. So now it's going to be the Jimhadar's turn again.
You roll for guard, right?
Yeah, roll for guard.
Yeah.
Because I'm paying 2 momentum to take another major action.
Right. Okay.
Which is the guard. And because I'm taking another major action, increases difficulty by 1.
Right.
Time, so it'll be difficulty 1.
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
You want to take some momentum? We have a ton of momentum if you want to like juice it.
Okay. Cool.
I think it's fine. I don't.
Can I pick something for you to consider for maybe next turn or the turn after?
If we have the next turn or turn after, but yeah.
Maybe all 3 of y'all jumping off the ship for mid-air transport.
I got what? Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'll think about it.
There's only one of the EVA suit.
I already have ideas. Why you say my ideas out loud?
That's
going to be my
successes.
ideas. Sounds better.
So I increase the difficulty of hitting specifically Jin by 2.
Okay.
And we get 1 momentum, and I get 1 bonus momentum.
Okay.
Which will fizzle because I can't think of anything to use that 1 bonus momentum for.
Okay.
Can you spend them to increase the potency of that guard?
It's just it's the baseline action. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay. So I'm assuming we're all still connected. Yes, because I cannot see you. So when things go quiet, I'm assuming I'm still playing with people. Okay, good. All right.
Sorry.
All right. So with that, that's going to take us back to the Jimhadar's round. That means that is going to be okay. Did 2. Okay, so on the Jimhadar, okay, yeah, because they get 3. So on the Jimhadar's round, they are okay. They take their action. It is now y'all's round. They're going. Oh, they're going to use their minor action real quick. I'm going to use their minor action real fast. They are going to do evasive action. Oh wait, that's a major action. They're going to do. Yep. Nope. I think. Yeah. That's going to be the end of their round. So then it's back to you guys.
Who's trying to go?
Cadence had a vision.
Oh, it's just that we do have an evacuation specialist.
We do.
That just got itself scrambled.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. See, Captain, we're on a certain. It's almost like
I don't know what that was. I don't know what to do
That
with my
was
hands.
my wing forming up on me, is what that is.
Oh, you're all
As the
back.
Pathfinder and evac specialist, both of you, no, all three of you, Morinth, Marceau, Rulon, on me, whoever's on the evac specialist, get under the ventral side. They've made a hole, and you're going to get ready for a transporter relay race.
Copy that, Commander.
That is my wing action. I make a presence or command check with a difficulty of 1. If successful, we can spend momentum to allow a vessel, Le Pride, to benefit from the evac's signature support ability, so that when we see, poking their little heads enough to get some transport lock, they can just relay them on through.
Okay. One second.
Okay, but only one.
I'm trying to figure out, after we have all three of us have to jump out of this ship to get locked because they have shields up.
If you
Maybe
would,
you could shut down the shields from inside.
I feel like I'd have to go to the bridge for that.
you'd probably have to roll to figure out what you're going to do.
You have
I
some
mean-
you have a genius with you.
If you would like, you could do an obtain information. You could roll tactical, like whatever you want to do with that.
Yeah, it's not my turn right now. I'll be thinking on that though.
Okay.
In terms of where the Griffins will be relative to that, we're forming up under the hole you made. So we're pretty much just kissing their belly there. So to the extent one or more can drop. We'll get you. Like they're genuinely like trying to fly under you.
Okay. All right. So this turn, what exactly is happened this turn? You have set up for the next turn, is that right?
Yeah, I've activated
Transport relay.
Yep, the transporter relay race, so the
Okay.
Pride can benefit from that. That's just me qua wing. Meanwhile, the wing itself has positioned using, on my part at least, impulse thrusters. You can't get away from me that easy. So
Okay.
that we are all formed up under the ventral side. That does make us, specifically me, a little more easy to target because NPC Griffins cannot shoot, nor may they be shot. They're just there for their abilities. I'm a little more accessible to get at from aft. Like if you're under the belly, hypothetically, if you turn, it's a little easier.
They're ignoring all of the
Which is
paragraphs.
exactly what I was banking on.
Yeah, no, they have turned their attention completely to the cap ship that just got here.
Yep.
We can using the captain's ability, we can keep the initiative for free if anybody has another thing they would like to do in this moment. Is that correct?
I think the only people that can do
Yeah.
anything this moment is Pride right now, since we each will
Okay.
take
Yeah.
time.
And
Alright.
if we are going to be transporting them, that means we're going to be that means we're going to need to drop shields. So it's all on you in terms of making sure we don't get hit. So
So can I take a evasive? I mean, we're a huge target. Like, I don't know if I have like an evasive waiting mode.
Yeah.
yeah,
Evasive action.
All right, then yeah, I'm gonna
Looks
take us
funny
into
around here.
evasive. I'm gonna take us into evasive actions. Then I think.
So do keep in mind that if you are going to transport anyone, it does require a roll. It is a major action, and if you were doing it from the bridge, which we should have been doing it, it would be an increased difficulty of 1 because you don't have a support character technically in play. But we're going to just keep playing this as it is. But if you want to take the evasive,
I'll gladly spend another ox point.
Yeah,
Activate Zoe.
Let's activate Zoe.
I'll let you activate Zoe for an ox point. Yeah. Okay. Roll a d12 for me if you would, please.
6.
Sam.
You're prepared.
Thank you, Ox Crew Kerrigan 29.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
All right, in that case, she's going to make a control plus engineering task with a difficulty of 0, assisted by the ship's sensors and science. So the transporter relay you guys are setting this up for what is the goal here? What's the target? What are you transporting? Because you've got Casey on. Oh, you're trying to get the 3 crew that are on the Jim'Hadar ship.
We can't yet, so we're
Mhm.
like
Basically preparing.
We're preparing.
that's what we were saying, is that maybe I get into like evasive action while
Right.
we
If
wait,
I-
because we're gonna have to lower our shields.
And if I could, I'd like to take the direct action to get you to do that. So the direct is just because I'm telling you to do it, you get bonuses for doing it, and you do it immediately. That's it.
Their shields are up though, so you're not going to be able to get a transporter lock. Okay.
No, we know. Right
Gotcha.
now, we're saying that that's what's coming,
Gotcha,
and in the
gotcha.
meantime, we're getting into the Pride. Helm is going to take the evasive action, or
Okay.
basically to be prepared to take fire, because we're going to have to lower our shields at some point. So it's just a preparation.
Okay.
Phase. I'm being directed to do so.
Uh-huh.
All right.
That means we have to spend 1 momentum for me to do that.
Okay. We've
I
got
select
many.
the ally who can hear you, which would be you. They immediately attempt a single action with a +1 let's see, with no +1 difficulty. You assist them with your control command. So there we go.
All right. I would like to buy a die for cautious.
Nice.
And then what is the difficulty on the this it's like a piloting check. It's a preemptive piloting check, basically.
Yeah, there's
An
no
evasive
roll
pattern.
to evasive action.
Yeah,
there's not a roll. I just do it. Okay.
Yeah.
It means that
Then
you
I
get to
can
make that the check will be opposed rather than just whatever the weapons check is.
Yeah.
You get
Got
to
it. Okay.
stack
Then I'm just
your
chilling.
successes on top of that.
Cool,
And
then
the
I'm just chilling till
difficulty
then.
goes up by 1.
Right.
It is
got
harder
Okay.
to shoot them from tactical, but
Yes. Well, I'm chilling then. Then that's what we're doing.
Okay.
All right.
All right, then I think that's going to start the new round.
Mhm.
Okay. So you had the last action this round, which means they're going to start with the action this round. And on their round, their major action on this round is they're going to need to roll for this, but 1 second. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Make a quick roll here. And 4. Assisted, yeah. One, 2. They get an assist, so this is going to be engineering 8 and 3. So 1, 2. So I generate 3 threats. Okay. Their major action this round. Captain, it registers the moment it starts to happen, but you see materializing on the bridge through your ship's shields are 4 Jim'Hadar soldiers that beam directly onto the bridge of the Pride with their plasma rifles out. And as soon as they arrive this round, I'm going to spend the threat that I just got to keep the initiative, and they're going to open fire.
How much threat did you spend?
I haven't spent any yet. I just generated 3 threat from the roll, from the assist. As Jim'Hadar can beam through shields, they have the technology to breach Federation shields, and there are 4 of them on the ship. The first one is going to immediately aim for what they perceive to be the helm's officer. And I'm going to make a quick check. I'm going to see if they correctly divine which one is help.
Oh,
I'm going to make this a 50-50. They are opening fire. So this is... the alarm starts to blare as the Pride is taking on borders right now. And here we go. I'm going to roll this attack. As the Jim'Hadar opens fire, that's going to be... security. Okay. Yep, that's a hit. That's going to be... Oh, God, okay. It has the deadly quality.
Jesus.
No, we're all good because this isn't happening. This activates. This is going to activate. Precautions. There it is. Once per scene, when an ally suffers an injury or the ship suffers a breach, prevent that injury or breach. Describe a precaution you took to prevent this issue.
Okay.
I am also going to spend my determination now to create a trait. I don't think that Jiren is somebody who goes up against the Jim'Hadar and forgets that he can transport through shields.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna have here is the moment I notice that something like that is happening, the precaution that I took is having the aforementioned transporter inhibitor that I've been mentioning for the last couple of episodes on hand. So as soon as they begin to materialize, get off my ship.
For those of you watching at home, that trait and that ability, that rule exists specifically to simulate a strategical genius like Captain knowing the battlefield. It gives players the option of portraying those hyper competent Starfleet officers that can see 5 moves ahead. Jaren, you worked in Starfleet intelligence. You literally helped navigate the battlefields. You know exactly what the Jim'Hadar are capable of. You know they can ignore Federation shields. It's something that the Federation learned at great cost at the start of the war. You see it coming because they stop maneuvering in invasions. They ignore the Griffin wing and they fly straight for the Pride. They didn't open fire this round, so you see it coming. The moment you see the transporter beams materializing, get off my ship. The transporter beams flicker and they lose their actions for the round.
Let's go! Oh, Captain, my Captain, let's go!
I've been so scared. I've had precautions in the tuck for a minute.
They were about to hit. Yeah, Tavine was about to get shot point blank with a plasma rifle from a Jim'Hadar warrior.
Yeah, don't let my sister get shot. I'll be so mad you let my sister get shot. Thank you.
So funny if I was the one that got... After all of the setup, Tavine was somehow the one that got blasted.
I mean, the only thing is, how could that happen? You're on Jaren's bridge.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. That's why.
That is going to have to be where we pause the game for the night.
Oh my God.
In mid-combat.
Get off my ship and the credits roll.
Jim'Hadar attempted to take, and they would have coup de grace this entire combat. As they attempt to take the Pride away from you guys. They are denied. When we come back next week, do we come back next week? We don't.
We don't.
Next week's Oracle. What a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, we have to wait. We're gonna have to get past some superhero action before we get back to other science fiction superhero action. So next Monday night is going to be Noirville, and then when we come back in May, the first week of May, it is going to be literally picking up after a boarding action was attempted, and we're still in a fight with the Jim'Hadar attack ship. So I'm gonna say. Let's do this. We're gonna keep continuing this marking the momentum. So save the momentum you guys have now. I'm gonna save the threat that I have now. And let me pause for a second and just say everyone was such a badass tonight. Like you guys were using the rules accurately and creatively to stave off a really deadly foe. Jem'Hadar are like S-tier baddies in Star Trek Adventures. They break rules. They kill everybody they go up against, and y'all are still in this fight. You and like tip of the hat to my favorite plays of this game. Everyone had one. I just got to tip the hat to the badass. We finally got some dogfighting. So, like the slipping, sliding, Tokyo drifting, like banking left and right, Death Star run through the canyon, dodging around this Jem'Hadar vessel. Also, Taeon did a breaching action, a one-man army on a Jem'Hadar attack ship, rescuing this Vorta and the target that you were after. Managed to. There were at least 2 separate instances where I could have killed a player character, where not if you guys didn't have momentum or the ability to, you could shrug off injuries because the game lets you play out a main character in a Star Trek show. So if you take a deadly injury, you have the option of taking it as stress damage instead. The thing that makes the Jem'Hadar so deadly is they dole out so much damage that it almost nullifies being able to shrug off an injury from the first attack. I almost got you with that cloak to Jem'Hadar. You spotted him and took his hat out. Then obviously the science and the badassery from our crew and Caitlin, you just Taveen just jumping in there and doing the science with the other NPCs and figuring out how to get us there, which by the way was Noir's idea. Awesome.
Yes, everybody needs to know that was Noir pitch.
Noir's pitch,
really
cool. and also that fucking play. Like this whole combat would have almost certainly ended with the bridge crew either severely injured or at least taken prisoner by the Jem'Hadar. The next episode of The Last Excelsior would have been all of you who are still alive on your knees with Jem'Hadar pacing back and forth with plasma rifle. They would have taken the ship. They'd have taken command. The battle bridge would have been the only place to command the Excelsior. You guys would have, the pride would have been taken. You countered that play of the game. Like almost ended.
I almost bit the determination so many other times.
Oh, that was you saved my cat.
Yeah.
You all had so many clutch moments where if you hadn't burned a determination, if you hadn't rolled that one die, like so many cliffhanger moments, just really hardcore. Well done, everybody.
Very cinematic.
Yes,
cinematic.
We're not even out of this yet. We come back into another fight. Y'all, I will say you do have the target though. You have the objective. You just need to get her back on the pride. What's up, Sam?
I hope all of this made for very good bedtime stories.
Yes.
Good night, little ensign.
Good night, little ensign.
Honestly, I got that player from Molly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, please go have a good Monday night. Thank you, as always, for joining and supporting the StreamPunks so that we can keep selling our favorite Star Trek stories. We will see you next time, Aux Crew. Have fun in the Noirville verse. Until then, hailing frequencies are closed.
Happy birthday.